The conditions are perfect at Miller Park here this afternoon for the Brewers to get a series win as they face the Houston Astros in Game 3 of this 3-game set. Everything locked up at 1-1. The big bats, those Brewer bats, were held in check last night, in fact, producing no runs. That's because Roy Oswalt was better than good last night. 8 scoreless innings for Houston's first shutout of 2010 against the Brew Crew last night. Casey McGee still leads the league in RBIs despite not getting one last night. We'll see if he can add to that total. And Dave Bush back out on the hill after a confrontation with the umpire in his last start and his worst start of his career. We'll give it another go. Jerry Augustine and Craig Kashan back with you here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. All right, it's 1-1. Got to get the series. Can't get everything all back at once for the Brewers. How important is today?
Well, you talk about winning one game at a time, but even more important is starting to win a series. The way you have a good home record, you have to have it throughout the season to be successful, is winning a series, and it starts right today.
And they put the ball in Dave Bush's hand. We'll have more on Dave Bush and what he needs to do, because what he's got to do is forget about what happened last time. Even a run-in with the home plate umpire got in his way of his shortest outing ever. Bill and Brian will have more on Dave Bush and the Brewers when we come back.
And hi, everybody. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us today. The Brewers trying to win a series today, and that's where it starts if they're going to try to get back in this race. And for Dave Bush, you know he is anxious to get back on the mound after his worst start of his career last Friday.
He had to feel like prey in the woods. He was attacked by the Minnesota Twins. He was attacked by the umpire. Nobody got thrown out. He had a balk. He attacked himself. But certainly, it's one of those games where, very unlike Dave Bush, he didn't seem like he had much out of sync. Really, nothing really going right. The one thing about Dave Bush, he never really has problems throwing strikes. Sometimes he throws too many strikes. He just has to put this one behind him forget about it. Sometimes starts like this are easier to forget about than when you lose a game late when you're throwing the baseball well. He just got to forget about it and go out and be aggressive today.
Dave Bush trying to get back to where he was at the beginning of the year. His first 3 starts were outstanding. The Brewers need him today. They were shut out last night. They'll try to wake up the bats for a matinee. It's the final game of the series. Lineups and the first pitch coming up next on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Astros were the ones shaking hands last night. They won it 5-0. The Brewers and the Astros now tied in the series 1 game apiece. The rubber game today, and there is new Astros manager Brad Mills in his first year. And Mills' lineup today is brought to you by Subway. Houston has Michael Bourne leading off. He's the league's leader in stolen bases. Jeff Keppinger and Hunter Pence after that. Pence this series has 3 hits, including 2 doubles and an RBI. Lance Berkman, Jeff Blum, and Corey Sullivan in the middle of the order with Tommy Manzella, Kevin Cash, and Brett Myers. Cardinals lead noticeably absent. On the mound is Dave Bush, start number 10 today, Rock.
Well, he was having a pretty good month of May going until that last start. We talked about it when we came on the air. A third of an inning, 7 runs for Dave Bush. But he's had very good success against these Houston Astros in his career. 6-1 in 13 games. That includes 11 starts.
Dave Bush and Brett Myers today. Matinee baseball here at Miller Park, and what a great day for the grand old game it is. As Bourne fouls it away, and off we go. Milwaukee winning the opener back on Tuesday night, 6-1. Randy Wolf had a spectacular start that night, went 7 shutout. It was answered by Roy Oswalt last night. 8 shutout innings for Oswalt, the first shutout of the year for Houston. That's the crew chief, Jerry Lane, calling the balls and strikes here today. Mike Winters, Hunter Wendelstedt, and Mike Easterbrook on the bases. There was the man of the hour last night. Oswalt picking up just his 3rd win of the year. Tied a season high for strikeouts with 9 last night.
Now, if there's anybody throwing the ball any better than Roy Oswalt, I'd like to see who it is, because he has been outstanding. His best start of the year last night, 10 consecutive quality starts for Roy Oswalt. Outstanding work.
Well, hitters will tell you at Miller Park during day games, it's usually to the advantage of the pitcher, especially as the shadows begin to creep out toward home plate. We'll see how it plays today. The bright sky up above, not a cloud up there, just beautiful blue up on high. 2-2 to Bourne. He fouls another one off.
Yeah, hitters will tell you that it's the advantage of the pitcher as the game goes on, but pitchers will tell you the ball travels pretty well, particularly when you have a beautiful day like today. Mostly sunny, 73 degrees. And a nice breeze. Looks like it's blowing in from left.
Another 2-2 offering. And Bourne gets a piece of another one. Set the defense for you for the Milwaukee Brewers. Behind Dave Bush, it is Braun, Gomez, and Hardy in the outfield. The infield, McGee and Escobar on the left side with Weeks and Fielder on the right. And the battery today is George Kataris and Dave Bush. That is the Blaine's Farm and Fleet Brewers defense. Down goes Michael Bourne. A strikeout to get things started this afternoon for Dave Bush.
Well, Dave Bush had absolutely no command of any of his pitches his last time out. That's a game that he's going to want to forget about quickly. And you can see that pitch a little bit upstairs, but right on the outside corner to get Bourne. That's a guy you have to keep off the bases. Michael Bourne, he can run.
Here's Jeff Keppinger now, the Astros second baseman, a shortstop by trade. But with the young Tommy Manzella getting the starts at short, Keppinger moves over to second. He's been a good hitter for Houston. It's been an offense that has struggled this season, but Keppinger has been one of their best.
Yeah, not a big run producer. He's more the table setter, along with Michael Bourne, for the middle of the order for the Houston Astros. But middle of the order hasn't done much.
Keppinger batting .288 to start the day, has 17 driven in. Lance Bergman back in the lineup tonight. Today he's hitting cleanup this afternoon. So in this series, he'll have hit in all 3 of the middle order spots, 3, 4, and 5. The 1-2 pitch. Count evens at 2-2.
Interesting that Carlos Lee getting the day off. When he was with the Brewers, he played in every single game, all 162. Very rare to see him get a day off. Makes Dave Bush's job a bit easier.
Now Corey Sullivan is in left field this afternoon for Houston. Keppinger over his last 10, a .349 hitter with 5 runs driven in. And he bangs that one just foul. A diving try. It's catching on. That's a good effort. It's all right.
A nice foul. A showman down there. Ooh, that had to hurt.
Ooh, that was more like a javelin toss than a slide.
Like a lawn dart. Good to have fun at the ballpark, though.
Sure. There's a line drive into right center. That is down for a hit. Gomez able to cut it off, but Keppinger is in the second with a double. Keppinger stays hot, and a 1-out base runner for Houston. For our scouting report, we go to Ken Maka, Brewers manager, concerning Dave Bush and his return to the mound tonight.
I think he's been around long enough. He knows stuff like that happens, so hopefully that's not a mental block for him. No. Kind of talked Narverson into giving up a run in the first inning yesterday, so we'll stay with the positive, and hopefully he gives us good 6 innings. Yeah.
Ken Maka talking about Dave Bush after his last start, and has had the extra day to sit on it. So not only did Bush only go a third of an inning, his worst start of his career, but then he had the off day to deal with. So one more day to think about that start.
Yep, a lot of sleepless nights, but you don't know. I mean, an outing like that has got to be just one that you have to forget about, and very unlike Dave Bush. The fact that he wasn't able to throw the ball where he wanted it. Ken Mock had a funny comment, before the game today, saying that his arm's going to feel good. He only got one out, 36 pitches, so it shouldn't be a fatigue situation for Bushy.
Well, it was a quick strike for sure back on Friday at Target Field. And Bush's earned run average went from 4.27 to 5.59. So well over a run in a jump this late in the year. It kind of tells you where he was prior to that. Bush had one bad start prior to his last start against the Twins. He gave up 7 earned runs against Chicago, but other than that, he has been the most consistent starter.
Yeah. Well, 4 starts in between those 2 bad ones were very good ones.
2 balls and a strike on Pence. And that one's on the corner. 2-2, the count evens. Ken Maka referencing Chris Narveson, who has had his first inning woes this year. He gave up a first inning run last night. And Bush has had his battles in the first inning as well. Big bouncer to Escobar. Got a hurry. Nice pickup. And a high throw pulls fielder off the bag.
Yeah, Hunter Pence runs very well down that line, and Escobar knew it. He charged it. He picked it. It was a nice play with the glove, but just couldn't get enough on the throw. A little bit high. Should be a base hit. A tough play for Escobar. It's going to be an error. A good clean pick, but a little bit high on the throw, and they're going to give him an error. Just could not keep that foot on the bag.
So in E6, Escobar committing his 8th error of the year. As a team, the Brewers with 34. A little bit on the high side, especially after a terrific start defensively for Milwaukee. Here's Bergman, and a bouncer to Prince. He'll take the sure out at first base. And that's the second out of the inning. Both runners advance, but Bergman retired here in the first.
Unusual to see Lance Berkman swing at a first pitch curveball from Bushy. And Bush knows that Berkman likes to jump on that first pitch fastball, particularly when there's men in scoring position, and gave him the curveball and got the out. See Berkman shaking his head on his way back to the dugout.
Well, here's Jeff Blum. He gets the start at third today. Blum in the starting lineup for the first time in this series. Pedro Feliz is the everyday third baseman in Houston this year. But with a couple of left-handed starters in the first 2 games, Blum just now getting a shot in the finale. Blum hitting .274, not a lot of walks in that mix, just an on-base percentage of .312 and only 73 at-bats.
Guy's made a good living being a utility player and a pretty good pinch hitter. He's had some big hits against Milwaukee in his career, both as a Padre and as an Astro.
And it was against the Astros in the 2005 World Series, Blum then playing for the White Sox, that he had his biggest home run. Proved to be a game winner. Ball and 2 strikes on Blum. He's the kind of guy, even in his 12th season, you figure to be around for a while. He's just an excellent veteran presence off the bench and a left-handed bat off the bench as well with some power.
And you can play him just about anywhere. Play him in the outfield if you have to. He was playing a lot of third base last year for Houston.
Now Blum is a switch hitter, rarely plays as a right-handed batter. Just 9 at-bats from the right side this year. This is his best spot. There's a little flare and a long run. Escobar cannot get there. 2 runs are going to score. Blum is on his way to second. Now he stops. A little flare by Blum, and it's 2-0 Houston in the first inning.
Well, we saw a lot of that in last night's ball game. Carlos Lee with a couple of off the end of the bat base hits to score runs last night. That time a little flare, a jam shot. It kind of ran in on him and just out of the reach of Escobar, but 2 big RBIs for Jeff Blum.
So the Astros on the board first again. Still 2 outs. Here's Corey Sullivan now as they check on Blum at first. Sullivan and Dave Bush were teammates at Wake Forest. Another guy who doesn't get much playing time, especially in the outfield with Carlos Lee.
And most of his at-bats have come off the bench. He's the most used pinch hitter for Brad Mills. 28 pinch hits or pinch hit appearances this year with 5 hits.
Sullivan was with the Mets last year. Came up in the Rockies organization. He was part of their World Series run in 2007. 1 ball, 1 strike on Sullivan. And a strike on the inside corner, 1-2. Sullivan actually owns a World Series hit. Had a base hit against Boston in that 07 World Series, which was a sweep by the Red Sox over the Rockies.
Yeah, the Rockies, the hottest team in baseball before that World Series. You remember they won the National League pennant very quickly. They had 9 days off and then lost their momentum and got swept by the Sox.
Yeah, they swept the Arizona Diamondbacks after sweeping Philadelphia back in 07. Sullivan was along for the ride the entire run. Rockies back in the headlines again today. It was Ubaldo Jimenez who improved his .99 ERA with 8 shutout innings last night against Arizona, and Jimenez ERA is now .88 to start the day. He has 9 wins.
Amazing.
Blum takes off and Sullivan draws the walk. And the first inning struggles continue for Brewer pitching.
Yep, 32 pitches already for Dave Bush. Well, just the way things have been going for the Crew. You get a double from Keppinger. An error allows Pence to reach. A jam shot that just fell out of the reach of Escobar for 2 runs, and now a walk. So nothing hit all that hard off of Dave Bush, but the Astros have been able to capitalize.
Runs are unearned, but they count. And here is Tommy Manzella. Big sweeping curveball from Bush. That's his get over curveball. You'll see that slow curve early in counts typically.
And when he throws that for strikes, he ordinarily has a pretty good day.
Bush uses that slow curveball almost as a changeup. It is a change of pace pitch. But, you know, when you're a pitcher, a starting pitcher especially, who has a fastball that tops out at 88, 89 miles an hour, you have to have something to get the hitter off that hitter speed.
Yeah, particularly first pitch. You throw that curveball, doesn't even have to be a good one. Ordinarily, if it's a strike, you're going to get ahead in the count. You got Lance Berkman on the first pitch curveball. An easy ground out to Prince.
Seventh batter in the inning for Houston. And pitch number 36 on the way from Dave Bush. A good crowd on hand today. Beautiful afternoon to spend some time at the ballpark. And another foul ball. Now Bush just cannot put the hitter away here.
Yeah, just can't get the fastball by him. I mean, his best fastball in this inning has been 86 miles an hour. And ordinarily, when Bushy was going well, he'd top out at about 89. That's a big difference. 3-4 miles an hour makes a big difference.
Another 1-2, and that one's in the dirt. Well, Ken Maka was hoping to get at least 6 innings out of Dave Bush today, and that is an anxious manager as he watches the pitch count rise. The next pitch will be number 39 in this first inning for Dave Bush. Full count to Manzella. The runners will be off with the pitch. 2 runs already in. And that one is hit hard. Center field. Back is Gomez in the shadows, and he's got it at the warning track. Inning is over, but it took 40 pitches. We head to the bottom of the first. Here today, Ken Maka's Subway lineup. Ricky Weeks, Carlos Gomez, and Ryan Braun at the top of the order. Braun checks in second in the league in batting, and he's hit in 9 of his last 11. Fielder McGee and Hart in the middle of Maka's order, with Kataris catching Bush here today. Escobar hits 8th, and Bush rounds it out. And there is Brett Myers, and we talked about how good Roy Oswalt has been for Houston. Myers has been right there with him this season.
Yeah, 9 for 9 in quality starts, whether you like that statistic or not. Myers has been throwing the baseball very well. The one problem that he has had is giving up home runs. He's given up 6 of them, but other than that, he's been very good. A 3-3 record, a 325 earned run average.
Myers coming off a win against the Tampa Bay Rays, who at this point look like the best ball club in baseball. Myers beat him last Friday. Outdueled Matt Garza in that game as he deals Ricky Weeks strike 1. Weeks with 6 home runs. He homered in the opener of this series on Tuesday night. Has 24 driven in. Myers is a nemesis from Brewers past. He pitched in Game 2 of the National League Division Series and beat CC Sabathia that day on the way to the World Series for the Phillies and that World Series championship. He's another guy who's bounced around as a closer, as a starting pitcher, pitched in a setup role. He's done just about everything.
And 9th game against the Brewers in his career. 4 of those now 5 starts. He's also picked up a save. He's got a 4-1 record against Milwaukee.
So Myers a 4-1 record with a save and a 1.77 career earned run average against the Milwaukee Brewers. That takes you back to the 2002 season. His only loss came in 0-2 against Milwaukee. That was in a start early in his career. But his first start against the Brewers as an Astro. Full count to Weeks. Count stays at 3-2.
And not a flamethrower. He throws, 92, 93, fairly straight fastball. He'll cut the fastball. Has a pretty good overhand curveball and a changeup. He's thrown a lot of strikes so far this year. Only 20 walks, 46 strikeouts in 61 innings.
Crowd still filing in. And Weeks draws a walk. That's a good start. Let's take you back to Myers' last start against the Tampa Bay Rays. This game opened up interleague play for Houston in Houston. And Rock, he goes 7 innings against Tampa Bay and just 1 run. It was unearned.
Yeah, an unearned run and walked 4, struck out 7, 122 pitches and beating Matt Garza. Guy's got good stuff. As we talked about, he's had a pretty good month of May, a 2-1 record in May and 4 starts with a 2.57 ERA. In his 3 losses, the Houston Astros have scored a combined 6 runs. You could probably throw that statistic out with just about every one of the starters for Houston. Astros had a tough time scoring runs up until last night.
And it's unusual that to have this much good pitching, and they do have good pitching, quality starters in Oswalt and Wandy Rodriguez and Brett Myers. They also have a terrific closer, Matt Lindstrom, who has 10 saves. Usually teams who can pitch don't end up at 16 wins and 30 losses to start the year. That is how bad their offense has been in the early part of the schedule.
It's kind of unusual for a Houston Astros ball club. The middle of their order on paper is pretty good. With Hunter Pence and Carlos Lee and Lance Berkman, guys like that, just have not been able to do much offensively.
Here's the 1-1 to Gomez. And a breaking ball. Gomez out in front.
Here's that big curveball, about 77 to 78 miles an hour. Takes a lot off of it. When he throws that for strikes, he can be tough. And apparently he's been throwing it for a lot of strikes so far this year.
Gomez into left field, slightly off the end of the bat, and it ends up as the first out of the inning. Just missed it, did Gomez.
He just couldn't wait back long enough on that big lazy curveball, and Myers left it up in the strike zone.
So 1 gone for Myers, and now a matchup with Ryan Braun. Braun with 4 hits in this series, including a home run. He homered in the first inning on Tuesday night, a 2-run home run. Has a couple of stolen bases as well. Second in the National League in batting, trailing only Andre Ethier. A correction, Ethier has now fallen out of the batting race. Not enough at bat since he's been on the disabled list. Christian Guzman is the league leader in hitting as we start play today with Washington. Andre Ethier has a broken bone on his pinky finger, and he's going to be on the shelf for at least a month, they say. That came close, a narrow miss.
Yeah, Ryan Braun with 59 hits already and 178 at bats. And this is game number 47, so Ryan off to a terrific start. And what he's been doing a very good job of is getting on base at .403 on base percentage. See Ryan right now 5 points behind Christian Guzman.
2-0 the count to Braun. And a little spinner that misses away. 3 balls, no strikes. Prince Fielder waits on deck.
If he likes it, he's going to be swinging. And Brett Myers knows it.
Hitters count for Braun. And that one catches the outside corner. Two pretty good pitches to get back in the count for Myers.
Yeah, that pitch looked like it might have been off the outside corner. Jerry Lane, home plate umpire, liked it. Two pitchers' pitches after falling behind 3-0.
Full count. Weeks takes off, and Braun hits one high in the air to left center. This will not carry. Playable for Bourne. He's got it on the track. And that is the second out. Check the Astros defensively behind Brett Myers. Corey Sullivan gets the start in left field for Carlos Lee this afternoon. Jeff Blum starts in place of Pedro Feliz. And Kevin Cash is in there for Humberto Quintero. Cash is another guy who throws the ball exceptionally well. Astros have two good throwing catchers on their roster in Quintero and Cash.
Yeah, and three starters for the Astros on the bench to start this one. Which means late in the ball game, Brad Mills has at least two big bats that he can throw up there.
Well, Fielder comes in with 7 home runs this year. His batting average is on the climb. He's at 271. And all of a sudden his on-base percentage is pursuing 400 as well.
He's starting to draw those walks again. You know, the Minnesota Twins, obviously the scouting report was don't let Prince beat you. Walked a ton in Minnesota and has been showing a much better eye since.
Fielder has 4 walks in this series. Prince has shown a much better eye against right-handed pitching than lefties. Has 25 walks against right-handed pitchers and a 297 batting average against right-handers this year. 4 of his 7 home runs have come against righties as well. The 2-2. Fielder a little bit late. Count goes full. So a lot of pitches for Myers in this first inning as well. Dave Bush threw 40 in the top of the first, and now Myers with 23 first inning pitches. Those high pitch counts. Fielder into left center, and that'll be Sullivan to make the catch. So the inning is over. A leadoff walk stays at first. We head to the second.
Our Car Soup email question of the day. Today's question comes from Stan in Green Bay, who asks, with Greg Zaun's injury, what are the future catching plans for the Brewers this season? Well, Stan, we talked to Ken Maka before the game, and he said that George Kataris will see most of the duty. Rookie Jonathan Lucroy will continue to catch Randy Wolf, and he may assign him another pitcher just to keep these guys on a regular schedule. But, guys, the key is long-term. The Brewers don't know yet what the future of Greg Zaun is with that shoulder injury.
All right, thanks a lot, Drew. There's a base hit by Kevin Cash. Leadoff single for the Astros. I talked to Greg Zaun today, and it's interesting that they've kind of backed off the idea that a torn labrum requires immediate surgery. Matter of fact, Zaun was pretty adamant about the fact that he wants to pursue a more conservative approach, see if he can rehab it with some strength routines and try to get some therapy on that shoulder, and maybe he can come back. He's not ruling out a return this year.
Well, that's why you don't want to jump to conclusions, I guess. But anytime you hear, the word tear of anything, you assume it's going to be surgery. So, hey, best of luck to Zauni. Doing some rehab along with Chris Joyner, the Brewers strength and conditioning coach, the athletic training staff, and expecting perhaps, or at least trying to get back at some point this year.
Jonathan Lucroy caught Randy Wolf in the opener. He did a nice job in the big leagues a little earlier than the Brewers expected. They originally wanted Lucroy to be in AAA or AA or AAA for the entire season. He's new to the position of catching, just a couple of years into it. But Lucroy is in the major leagues now, and he's off to a pretty good start. Made his first career start on Tuesday night. There's a bunt by Myers, a good one. Only play is first for Bush. So a sacrifice bunt. Cash ends up at second. So Kataris and Lucroy will be the catchers. Kataris hasn't caught a lot either in the big leagues. He was Tim Wakefield's personal catcher in Boston last year. So a lot of inexperience with these two.
And I guess the organization is going to have to be, patient with both of them as far as, calling the game, receiving, the physical aspects of catching. It's going to be just fine. I mean, you're not going to get to this level if you don't have the basic fundamentals behind home plate. It's just, learning how to call a game, how to get through the National League. Neither one of them know much about the league at all.
Michael Bourne bounces out to second, and that's the second out of the inning.
Now voting is open for the 2010 All-Star Game in Anaheim. Help send your favorite Brewers to this year's game by voting up to 25 times at Brewers.com. Vote early, vote often, vote Brewers. Vote today at Brewers.com.
Well, and you can't blame Greg Zaun either, because obviously going into surgery, that pretty much means the end of the season. And for Greg Zaun, who's 39 years of age, it puts his career in jeopardy as well. So he's going to take his time, and he will try to rehab his shoulder. And that torn labrum on the front of his shoulder. He actually told me today that he has a shoulder issue with his left shoulder as well that he's played with. He's been able to rehab, so he's going on past experiences as he tries to make a comeback this year. We'll see. We wish him the best.
And no catcher, no player is going to be around as long as Greg Zaun has been around and be 100%. Just about every player that's been around, 10 to 15 years, they've got all kinds of stuff messed wrong with them. But, you just find ways to play through it. And you wish the best. I mean, it's going to be one of those things where you try and get through it without the surgery, but very rarely does that work.
It's a good inning for Dave Bush after surrendering a leadoff single. Well, one of the top RBI tandems in all of the National League belong right here in Milwaukee. Casey McGee and Ryan Braun. Mark Reynolds and Chris Young now at 75 combined RBIs. And Casey McGee still leading the National League in ribbies to start the day. He has 40. 306 average to begin the day with 9 home runs, 40 driven in. And he leads off this second inning against Brett Myers. Speaking of shoulder injuries, Brett Myers experienced some shoulder issues last year in September, and he really wasn't a big part of the Phillies' run to the World Series last year. He did make a couple of appearances in the playoffs, but only out of the bullpen. Frustrating finish to the season for Myers last year. McGee, a little bouncer to third. Here's Jeff Blum, his first chance. And it's out number 1. Well, the Astros don't hit many home runs. The Brewers do. That's the contrast. 9 home runs for Hart and McGee. That leads the ball club. And overall, as a team, Milwaukee up there near the top in the National League in home runs. They've hit 56 this season. It's amazing to see the Toronto Blue Jays and the home runs they've hit this year in the American League. They are the runaway leader in all of baseball in home runs as a team.
Yeah, 79 home runs for the Toronto Blue Jays so far this year. That's a ton.
And there's hardly even a close second in the American League. Boston's hit 65 this year. The Arizona Diamondbacks still lead the National League in home runs to start the day. Fly away. And as the weather begins to warm up, you figure more home runs to come here at Miller Park. I'm kind of anxious to see how Target Field will play the rest of the summer in Minneapolis. It was our first trip there over the weekend, and it played as a pitcher's ballpark and has played that way in the beginning of the season. It's a long throw by Manzella. He's got a good arm, and Hart is retired.
Well, as the weather warms up, you know, a lot of ballparks all of a sudden, day games is a good barometer. The Saturday and Sunday games, the ball was traveling a little bit better at Target Field, like it does in all ballparks.
Miller Park, known as a hitter's ballpark, a home run ballpark. George Kataris with 2 outs. Myers gave up that leadoff walk to Ricky Weeks and has retired the next 5. This is one pitcher you do not want to let get in a groove. He is a shutdown pitcher. Been the Phillies' opening day starter the last 3 years.
And he likes to work very quickly. One way to get him out of his rhythm is to step out on him, slow him down a bit, get him frustrated out there. Good changeup.
Myers, the son of a boxing promoter. He grew up in the ring, has that fighter's mentality, from Jacksonville, Florida. Never at a loss for words either, as Kataris lines one to center field right at Michael Bourne, and the side is retired. Wisconsin, your ticket to more.
We go to the third inning here at Miller Park. Drew Olson at the point with Brewers Executive Vice President Rick Schlesinger. Rick, big weekend coming up, holiday weekend. What's the ticket situation like for the Mets series?
Well, we've got a ticket available for all 3 games, but we'll have big crowds. We'll be in the mid to high 30s Friday night. We should be close to a sellout Saturday and Sunday, mid to high 30s. So good weekend for baseball, and got a nice crowd here today, so let's get a win.
A lot of action going on. You got Ricky Weeks event. Tell me about that.
Right. Tomorrow night is Ricky Goes to Bat against diabetes. We're partnering with Red Prairie and the American Diabetes Association. For $149, fans can go to the Gale Club, get a signed autograph Ricky Weeks bat, all the food they can eat and drink, and watch the game and watch us beat the Mets. Saturday, we've got the Negro Leagues game. We're playing the New York Cubans, also known as the New York Mets. We'll both be wearing special uniforms as a tribute to the Negro Leagues players of yesteryear.
Should be an exciting weekend here. Anything else on tap?
Well, let's get our team on a winning streak here and win some games at home. That's what we care about right now.
You heard it, guys. By order of the Executive Vice President, they want to get going.
That's right. That is a high order as well. Yeah, he's in line with everyone else in Milwaukee, too, as Hunter Pence delivers a single to right. Got the big score day tomorrow as well. Score for excellence going on around the community. I'll be with Ryan Braun tomorrow. We're headed out. And it's one of the great events. We'll have plenty of that coverage for you tomorrow during the game. But there's a lot of great things the Brewers do in the community. And this is one of them, the Score for Excellence.
Yep, all the players and coaches, they get scattered around Milwaukee and go to the schools and talk to the kids. Kids love it.
And the words that make up the acronym. Always big fun. Last year went out with Trevor Hoffman and he stole the show. He was something else. Memorable speech for those kids. I wasn't sure how he was going to keep kindergarten through 5th graders entertained for 30 minutes, but he did.
Yeah.
They were hanging on every word. Second straight inning, the Astros have had their leadoff man aboard. And Bush paying a lot of attention to Hunter Pence. A modified shift on for Berkman. With the base runner, Escobar has to stay somewhat close to home at second.
Yeah, planning to pull in the infield and straight up in the outfield. Ordinarily, when Berkman hits the ball to the opposite field, it's in the air.
Houston with 2 unearned runs in the first inning. An error by Escobar extended the inning. And then Jeff Blum had a 2 RBI single, a little flare that bounced just inside the foul line in left field. Ball and a strike on Lance Berkman. 2-1. Last night, Berkman drove in a run on 3 hits. Had 3 hits and a walk last night. Took an 0 for 4 in the opener. Still trying to battle his way back. Had knee surgery in March. Opened the season on the DL. Pence takes off. Berkman pops it up. That one is carrying pretty well. Back to the warning track is Gomez. So we have found the jet streams here today as the wind comes in from the north and whips out towards right center. Time now for the Cabot Woodstains legendary performance on this date in 1968. Major League Baseball expanded outside the confines of the United States as the National League announced expansion for the first time in 7 years, awarding Montreal as well as San Diego. So baseball north of the border. And Montreal in the National League, 1968. Both of these franchises celebrating anniversaries this year. The Brewers in their 40th anniversary season, 1970 to 2010. And the Astros, their 45th anniversary as a franchise.
Hey, remember when the Astrodome opened, they had that glass roof?
That real grass?
And they thought they could use the real grass through the glass, and it burned up very quickly.
They learned a valuable lesson that day.
Yeah.
Remember the grounds crew? They all wore spacesuits. Mickey Mantle hit the first home run.
Yeah.
At the Astrodome in an exhibition game against the Yankees. The exploding scoreboard. Home not only to the Astros, but the Houston Oilers as well. Got a Final Four there. They called it the 8th wonder of the world, the Astrodome.
Still is, isn't it?
I don't think officially.
I mean, once you're a wonder of the world, I mean, don't you have that until it goes down?
It's got a self-imposed nickname right there.
Oh, okay.
I think we're still at 7 officially.
That was an interesting ballpark. You know, when the Brewers first went into the National League and went into the Astrodome. Not a very good venue for baseball.
Blum pops it up. Casey McGee in foul territory, and it's out number 2.
And you being a Texan, what are they doing in the Astrodome these days? Tractor pulls and rodeos?
Well, not much.
Things like that?
Winnebago shows. I grew up in the Astrodome. You know, I was one of the unfortunate ones who grew up in a town without Major League Baseball, so it was a 3-hour drive to catch a Major League Baseball game.
They packed the place for the Winnebago shows?
Oh, huge crowds. Exploding scoreboard and everything. Might as well.
That's good. Oh, boy.
Old Astrodome. I love the Astrodome.
Yeah, do you?
I did. You know, like I said, that was a spot you'd go to see a Major League Baseball game. You didn't care about wins and losses. You were just glad to see a real-life major leaguer there.
I guess. Pitchers love that place.
There were rumors in the Astrodome that they used to turn the vents on from behind home plate when the Astros would hit, and the opposite way when the visiting team would hit. So you'd actually get wind current. I can't speak to the truth of that.
No, they used to say that, or we used to say that about the Metrodome.
Conspiracy theories.
Not true, but you know, it's fun to talk about. And then you go up to the plate at the Metrodome and you just sweat. I mean, there's not a breath of air, but all of a sudden I'm back behind home plate and the wind's blowing me over.
Nice breeze blowing.
Coincidence.
Right at your back. Two balls, no strikes on Corey Sullivan. Now, the Astros came into the league in 1965 as the Colt 45s. Still one of my favorite logos. Had the toy cannon, had Jimmy Wynn.
Joe Morgan.
They realized right away, not only can you not go grass inside, but you also can't play a major league season in Houston, Texas outside. Into right field, Corey Hart makes the catch, and the inning is over. Ricky Weeks ready to bat when we come back. It'll be Escobar Bush. See if Weeks can get himself up there in a run-producing situation. There's a beautiful shot as we approach Memorial Day weekend. Old Glory flying high today in Milwaukee, and a 2-0 Astros lead as we head to the third. Bottom of the third with Escobar up. It's one spot to keep your ticket so you don't lose it. Escobar tries to bunt his way on. I know Ken Maka is encouraging Escobar to bunt more often. He'd love him to use his speed, and it's starting to show up that defenses are playing back on Escobar. There's a little flare, and that one's going to fall for a base hit. Like a tennis backhand, Escobar serves one into right field.
Yep, 30 love. A little lob shot into right field. Well, the Astros have been doing that last couple of days. And now the Brewers' turn. Oh, nice piece of hitting by Alcides Escobar, just laying the bat on the baseball and rewarded with a base hit to right. You see, trying to just reach out. That pitch literally looks like about 6 inches outside, but able to reach it and dump it into right field.
And Escobar using all fields. One of the reasons Maka would like Escobar to bunt more is because he has the extra base hit down the line. He likes to pull that baseball, especially with breaking balls. Gets out in front. You like to keep those infielders honest.
Hey, you get the reputation of a batter that might drop down a bunt from time to time. You get that third baseman even with the bag, and might be the difference between a double or an out. The infielder creeps in a little bit. His range becomes much less.
Create some holes for you. Escobar with the first hit against Myers. Myers walked Ricky Weeks to start the game. And now has allowed his first hit. Dave Bush trying to advance Escobar to second. 2-0 Astros, 2 first-inning runs. Escobar takes off, and a hit and run was on.
Yeah, why not? Not a bad move. Those pitchers lately have had a tough time dropping down sacrifice bunts. A 2-1 count, you see the corner infielders, even with the bag, trying to open up a hole, take off, maybe get a first or third.
Well, we'll see if Bush is up there to bunt with 2 strikes. Squares early, and Myers checks on Escobar. This exact scenario is one of the main reasons why Ken Maka likes Escobar batting 8th. It doesn't take a perfect bunt to advance Escobar to second. He has such great speed. But Bush unable to get the job done. That'll go as a strikeout for Brad Myers, his first, and 1 away. Well, Rick Schlesinger mentioned the Negro League tribute game that's coming up Saturday against the Mets. The Brewers will pay tribute to Negro League players Butch McCord and Ollie Brantley during a pregame ceremony. We invite you to come down for the game. Your chance to get autographs. You can participate in a game-worn jersey auction as well. Just visit Brewers.com for more details. I saw the uniforms today. The Brewers are going to wear the Milwaukee Bears uniforms.
They wore those last year, didn't they?
They look sharp. Look very sharp.
That's always a fun day. You love to look at the players and see what they look like in those throwback uniforms. Some guys look like they belong in those uniforms.
Like Ed Cedar, first base coach. You could put a set of Wolves on him right now, and he's right at home. Kind of looks like the Crusher, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, Ricky Weeks' grandfather played in the Negro Leagues. As he lines one to center field, Bourne cannot get there. He's able to keep it in front, and that keeps Escobar at second base.
Boy, that was a pretty good play by Michael Bourne. And, you know, outfielders are taught to do that. Once they get to a certain point, they know they can't pull up. If they pull up, the ball might skip by them. They're taught to, like, smother the baseball, do anything they can to keep it in front of them. And we talked to Eddie Cedar about that on one of our instructionals early this year. But a good job by Michael Bourne to keep it in front of him. That ball gets by him. It's a run. And Ricky Weeks might end up at third base. Kind of no man's land. A tough spot.
Best threat for the Brewers against Myers, there's a base hit, and the speedy Escobar is on his way to the plate. He will score. Gomez puts the Brewers on the board. It's 2-1 Houston as Carlos Gomez drives in his 12th.
Well, picking on the first pitch, able to sneak it out of the reach of Manzella at shortstop. Now, why wait around? That first pitch fastball has been a strike pretty much all day for Brett Myers. This time leaks it out over the plate. It was supposed to be inside, and the Brewers on the board.
So 2-1 Houston. A lot of speed on the bags with Weeks at second and Gomez at first. And here is Ryan Braun. Well, Myers fell behind Braun his first time up, 3-0. Came back with 2 outside corner fastballs, much like that one, to get back in the count and ultimately retire Braun. He's been good in spots like this all throughout his career. This year, batting .425 with runners in scoring position.
Brett Myers in a position where he needs to throw him strikes. Ryan's been fairly patient at the plate so far this year. Don't want to load the bases for Prince.
Braun, the National League hits leader to start the day. Led the National League in hits last year. Popped him up. This will stay playable. And it's Berkman who makes a catch in foul territory. A big out to get for Brett Myers. Now 2 gone. Still 2 on for Prince Fielder.
Well, the pitch looked a little bit up in the strike zone, and Ryan really upset with himself after popping that one up. Now it's up to Prince.
Fielder flew out to left in the first. And that one to right. A jam shot that'll end up with a glove of Pence. The inning is over. The Brewers do get a run, however. Gomez drives in his 12th. It's 2-1 Houston. Both unearned after an Escobar error. This flare by Blum played at 2. But the Brewers come back. They get a run against Myers in the 3rd inning. An RBI single for Carlos Gomez. On a spectacular Thursday afternoon in Milwaukee. It's 2-1 Houston. Bush back on the mound. He faces the bottom of the Astros order. Tommy Manzella leads off. Manzella has started every game in this series. He's a rookie, but he's 27, Tommy Manzella. Spent the year last year in AAA in Round Rock. And put up pretty good numbers offensively, enough to earn a shot in the starting role this year. Bush, a nice play, right back up the middle. One gone.
You know, though Manzella really doesn't have the numbers to show it, but he's been swinging the bat pretty well in this series. He's shown pretty good opposite field power.
AT&T Trivia Rock, who are the last two Brewers to play at all 162 in a season.
Did I give it away?
You did, but that's the beauty of the AT&T Trivia.
Got to pay attention.
That's right. They're in the ballpark today. There's a strike to Kevin Cash. Cash, the Astros backup catcher. Looks like the J.R. Tolles experiment is on hold for now. Tolles has been their bright young prospect, just has not been able to translate minor league success to the big leagues, and now he's injured.
Yeah, pretty good defensive player, but it just hasn't been able to hit enough. You have to be able to hit a little bit, and Tolles has really struggled with the bat up in the major leagues.
Cash had a base hit his last time up. Single to left. A cut fastball from Bush, but it's 2-2. And he strikes him out, so Bush goes up the ladder. Not sure that's exactly where he wanted it, but he gets the strikeout. His second strikeout of the game, and 2 quick outs in the 4th inning.
Well, if you're going to missing up and in, not a bad spot. That's where that pitch was. It was supposed to be on the outside corner, but ended up being a good pitch and got the strikeout.
And now the pitcher, Brett Myers. Brett Myers might have one of the greatest postseason at-bats by a pitcher in the history of baseball.
Yeah, against the Brewers.
It was in Game 2 of the National League Division Series against CC Sabathia. It was a 9-pitch at-bat. It looked like Sabathia was going to be able to wiggle out of a big jam. Came in the bottom of the second. He had Myers coming up. Myers is not known for his offense, let's put it that way. And there was Brett Myers battling, fouling pitch after pitch off. The crowd ended up on its feet. He drew the walk. 2 batters later, Shane Victorino hit a grand slam, and it was a 5-run second inning.
Yeah.
And it was all the Phillies would need that day, and a 5-2 win to go up 2-0 in that series. And the next game, Game 3, Dave Bush was on the mound, and he picked up the only win for the Brewers in the postseason. Myers strikes out. Good inning for Dave Bush. 3 up, 3 down with a pair of Ks.
chance to be a part of the Brewers Community Foundation at every home game. You can find those folks selling those 50-50 raffle tickets. Proceeds benefit the Brewers Community Foundation. Look for the raffle ticket sellers. They're wearing the orange T-shirts and they're roaming Miller Park. And guys, speaking of the community, tomorrow Brewers players and coaches are going to fan out all over the area. They're going to 26 middle schools for Score for Excellence Day.
All right, Drew, thanks a lot. Looking forward to that. We'll be out there tomorrow. And always a big event. Casey McGee, and that's going to sneak its way through. A base hit for McGee. And Casey back to his hitting ways, his first hit of the game, and a leadoff single for Milwaukee against Brett Myers.
That second time through the order for the Brewers has been much more productive. You know, fastball out away from Casey. Very rare for Casey to try and pull that baseball, but he's able to find the hole. And another leadoff single by Milwaukee.
Here's Corey Hart. Hart rolled out in the second inning. Pretty good play out there by Tommy Manzella. Well, last night, Roy Oswalt combining with Brandon Lyon to shut out the Brewers. First shutout for Houston all season. The last club to post a shutout win.
Man, the fifth time the Brewers have been shut out this year. And you remember 3 of those came in one series against the Padres.
And that run driven in by Gomez snapped a 12-inning scoreless streak for Milwaukee. Brewers are catching the top 2 Astros pitchers, yet Oswalt and Myers, and they've had good seasons each. Myers signed a 1-year deal with Houston. He could be a prized pickup this offseason. There's always injury concerns with Brett Myers, especially with that shoulder issue last year. Going into free agency, the last thing you could ever want is a shoulder injury in September.
And you've got to show baseball that you're healthy. It's amazing how a lot of pitchers have their best seasons in their free agent year, the year before they become a free agent. Always put out that extra effort. Not that guys don't do that every single year, but there's that extra incentive. That big payday coming.
Now, what would the game look like if every player was on a 1-year deal?
Yeah.
You'd see a lot of movement for sure, but
players wouldn't like it. Got to be careful who you give these long-term deals to. That's the bottom line.
And here are the Astros sitting on a 6-year contract with Carlos Lee. And he's off to a slow start this year. Not in the lineup today. Hart to short, and Manzella will start the double play. 2 outs with 1 swing of the bat. Our AT&T trivia question: the last 2 Brewers to play at all 162. Prince Fielder did it last year. Carlos Lee did it in 05, and it was Carlos Lee who was instrumental for a young Prince Fielder when Fielder first came to the big leagues, and making sure that the young Prince knew how important it was to be out there every day. Not only did Fielder play in all 162 last year, he played in every inning but 4 the entire season. Missed just 4 innings.
And that's the only way, you know, you're able to put up the numbers that Prince has been able to put up in his career, and that's being out there every day. Tied for league lead in RBIs.
That is a fair ball, and will go for extras for Kataris. Just inside the line, George Kataris, the Brewers catcher, with a 2-out double.
5 base hits for the Brewers in their last 2 innings, so figuring out something with Brett Myers. That wasn't a bad pitch, and look at George just flipping it inside the third baseline. That wasn't a bad pitch. He just let it travel into the hitting zone a little bit, got on top of it, and lined it down the left field line. That's a good piece of hitting right there.
Very Wade Boggs-like, that little slap swing from Kataris.
That George can hit. Make no mistake, he can swing the bat. He's got surprising power.
So here's Escobar with a chance with 2 outs. Got a runner at second. Tying run at second for Milwaukee.
And you wonder how aggressive Myers is going to be here with Dave Bush on deck. Got first base open.
All depends on how greedy a pitcher is. Confident pitchers, top of the rotation guys, usually go after 8th place hitters with hopes that you have the pitcher leading off the next inning, which on most occasions is an out.
Which is the thinking Brett Myers apparently here. I think a lot of it has to do too with how comfortable or how confident you are in your own offense. If you do make a mistake, give up a run in this situation, do you have confidence in your offense to come back and score some runs? And for the most part this year, none of the pitchers for the Astros have felt that way. And a slider off the plate, and Escobar able to hold up.
Good thing he was using a black bat. 2-2 the count on Escobar.
Doesn't count in a day game.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Myers going right after the Brewers shortstop. See if he can make him pay here. Escobar singled and scored in the 3rd. The lone Brewers run. Gomez drove him in. Gutierrez with a big lead at second, and Escobar stays alive. The Astros middle infielders are covering the holes, so Gutierrez doesn't have to worry about an infielder coming in behind him.
And the reason you do that, you play a little bit further back. You can get to a ball, maybe knock it down, keep it in the infield. With 2 outs and a man at second base. But because of that, George is able to get a big lead and probably going to get a good jump. Anything in the outfield should score the run.
Full count to Escobar. And he lays off. Good at bat for the young shortstop. And if nothing else, he'll clear the pitcher spot in this 4th inning.
Well, got ahead of him early and then tried to get him to chase, which Escobar didn't do. All of a sudden, that pitch count for Brett Myers getting up there a bit. Now 71 pitches. And we're only in the 4th inning.
Well, here is Bush with a chance to help himself. 2 on, 2 out. Starts him with a breaking ball. Bush has 1 hit this year. He's 1 for 10. He got into the opener of this series as a pinch runner. Bush was on base when Ricky Weeks went deep on Tuesday night. So he got to practice 3/4 of a home run try.
Yeah, Joe Ingley got hit by a pitch because of his bad leg, not able to run, so Bushy got a chance.
And that is a called strike 3. 3 breaking balls from Myers. The inning is over. Despite a couple of hits, the Brewers come up empty.
Brewers as we head to the 5th inning. Time to get caught up on some news and notes from around the game. You remember Ubaldo Jimenez from opening day here at Miller Park? He was pretty good then. He's just getting better. His ERA is minuscule. Look at the Red Sox. Adrian Beltre went crazy last night. That might be the hottest team in baseball right now, the Red Sox, because they beat Tampa Bay, which might be the best team in baseball. And Jerry Hairston, working late at night, got the Padres a victory over in St. Louis, which is good news for the Brewers as they look at the NL Central standings, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Drew. That is a great story in baseball. The San Diego Padres and the Hairston brothers infusing life into that ball club with a talented pitching staff as well. But Scott and Jerry Hairston making significant contributions.
Yeah, Scott Hairston made the Brewers' life very miserable back in that series in San Diego. That's a good story. You know, the best pitching staff as far as earned run average is concerned in the National League, a 285 team earning. And they've got 9 shutouts. That's not bad.
Impressive. 2-1 Astros as we move to the 5th. Top of the order for Bush, and always a key spot in a ball game for Dave Bush. 3rd time through the batting order.
Matter of fact, the San Diego Padres with the best team ERA in all of baseball. Tampa Bay with a 3.09 ERA. So a little bit tougher to navigate through an American League lineup than a National League, for the most part, because of that DH.
You could say the Rays had some names that many are familiar with, and although maybe you're not expecting those kind of numbers from their pitching, because their bullpen leading up to Soriano has been a little shaky in Tampa Bay, but they really haven't need that middle and setup relief. Their starters are going so deep into games. But not many household names with the Padres whatsoever. John Garland is their ace. He's had a great year. Matt Latos, their young star. Padres have been a good story. The question is, can they sustain it? Do they have enough offense to sustain it? As Bush walks Michael Bourne.
Well, pitching and defense ordinarily going to keep you in the race. Might not get you to the top, but it's going to keep you around. And as you talked about, you just wonder if the San Diego offense is going to be enough. You know, down near the bottom of the National League, but so far the pitching has been able to keep them up there.
The Brewers found out about that Padre pitching firsthand. 3 shutouts against Milwaukee. Bourne takes off. Katara's throw to second, never going to make it. Bourne got a great jump. His league leading 16th steal. And the Astros have a runner in scoring position with nobody out in the 5th.
Yeah, George Kataris has a very quick release. He's got about an average throwing arm. This one off the mark. I think it's right on the money. It might be close. And check out Michael Bourne. Actually almost slides right over the bag and has to keep that toe on second base. That's why it's so important to keep that guy off the bases. All of a sudden a walk turns into a double. And it's a matter of Bourne being able to get on base enough to warrant playing every day and being that leadoff hitter.
Bourne's first stolen base of the series. Keppinger up there at a 2-0 count. And a big sweeping curve in there for strike 1. Takes a lot of guts to throw a 67-mile-an-hour pitch to a big league hitter in a 2-0 count. But Bush, when he has that pitch working, it's the one pitch that is able to get him back in counts.
And not many guys have enough confidence in throwing that pitch so soft and such a big break to throw it for a strike on a 2-0 count, because if you miss it, all of a sudden you're down 3-0 and you're in big trouble. You know, at the middle of the order coming up, first 2 guys get on. But Dave Bush has a lot of confidence in that pitch, and it's been a decent pitch for him today.
Zach Braddock getting loose. Bush trying to get through this 5th. His pitch count is at 88. Had a 40 pitch first inning. He's been good since. And he jams Keppinger. Nice easy hop for McGee. It's a good sequence for Dave Bush coming back from 2-0.
Now getting the ground ball to third, keeping Bourne at second base. Hey, come out to Miller Park this Sunday as the Brewers take on the New York Mets. The first 25,000 fans in attendance get a luggage tag, compliments of Frontier Airlines. Call 414-902-4000 for tickets.
Half the crowd in the shade, the other half in the sun here as the shadows begin to creep out. And they will become a factor in about 30 minutes. Best of both worlds at Miller Park. On a day like this, open up the roof. Enjoy the outdoors. And when there are thunderstorms in the area like last night, close it up. Always a comfortable day at the ballpark for the fans here. Pence into center field. Gomez drifts back, and he's got it for the out. Bourne's going to tag at second. He'll make it without a throw. But 2 outs for Dave Bush.
Another good pitch by Dave Bush. Got Hunter Pence out in front, but that ball did carry pretty well. It didn't sound off the bat like it was going to go that far. You know, gap to gap, looks like the ball is carrying pretty well.
Well, Lance Berkman will hit. Runner third, 2 outs. Jeff Blum is on deck. Bush can be careful with Berkman if he chooses. Got a couple of bases open. Starts him with a fastball strike.
The first time in this game that Dave Bush has started Berkman out with a fastball. It's been breaking pitches first 2 times up. And that one right down the middle.
Comes right back to it.
What's he looking for, do you think? Curveball? 2 fastballs right down the heart of the plate, and he's behind 0-2.
Now what do you do if you're Dave Bush?
Bounce a curveball in the dirt.
Which means Kataris has to be on his toes. You got a runner at third. And there is that bounced curveball.
It's an easy game, isn't it?
But he didn't swing it.
Well, you call the curveball with 2 strikes, you better be able to block it. And Kataris doing a nice job. You see that glove right between the legs, covering up that 5-hole.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Kataris setting up inside, and Berkman fouls it off. That's what we're talking about with Dave Bush. His breaking ball works, has enough of a change of pace where he can get by with an 86, 87 mile an hour fastball.
But you better locate it.
Got to have command.
Not too many times you can throw it down the middle. You got away with it twice to Berkman here. Some hitters, you know, they'll watch, you know, what a pitcher's doing out there, particularly, you know, Lance Berkman, keeping a keen eye on what Bush is doing with Blum and Sullivan. You saw him using the curveball a lot. He threw 2 fastballs right down the middle. Some hitters will go up there and just sit on a pitch until they have 2 strikes. The risk of that is getting behind an account like Berkman did.
Just missed. Tried to sneak a fastball in there. I think about that kind of hitter. Adam Dunn comes to mind.
Right.
A notorious guess hitter until he gets to 2 strikes.
But he guesses in with 2 strikes. I mean, he gets caught looking on 3rd strikes more than any hitter in baseball.
Here's the 2-2. And a curveball. Did he go?
Wrong way, George.
George is
3rd base.
George is asking for help from the first base umpire. Jerry Lane is the crew chief. He says, first of all, George, I'll be the one asking for help. And if I do, I'm going to 3rd.
Yep, he held up.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you get a little confused out there.
Yeah, he's just excited. Now it's 3-2.
Get caught up in the moment. Forget who's up.
You don't want to run him too far off home plate. Bourne might score on you. Well, Bergman has seen them all. He was down to the count 0-2 with Bourne at third. Now it's 3-2. And he missed with a fastball. So Bergman draws the walk. That was a good at-bat by Lance Berkman.
A couple of fastballs, didn't miss by much, particularly that last one. Down and in. Now you got to start over with a pretty good run producer in Jeff Blum. He's been very dangerous throughout his career in these situations. Tough out, Jeff Blum.
2 gone, runners at the corners on a couple of walks in a 2-1 Astros lead. Blum had that flared single in the first inning that drove in a couple of runs. Rick Peterson wants a quick trip to the mound for Dave Bush. Got Zach Braddock, the lefty, ready in the bullpen. Well, you know Peterson and Maka would love to get Bush through this 5th inning. Give him a chance to win.
And you got to be careful if you're thinking about being careful, which you really can't do with a man at first base. You want to load the bases up, and all of a sudden you bring the left-hander, and then comes Carlos Lee off the bench.
Both Berkman and Blum are switch hitters. Both better from the left side of the plate. In the right center, Corey Hart raises his hand, and he gives way to Gomez. Gomez cut right in front of him. So Bush gets out of it. Ryan Braun is due to hit. We head to the bottom of the 5th at Miller Park. Of instant scratch games. Odds are you'll like them. By Airtran. Go. There's nothing stopping you. And by GMC. We are professional grade. Thursday afternoon baseball at Miller Park. The Brewers and the Astros hooked up in a pitcher's duel at this point. 2-1 Houston as Brett Myers is back on the mound. Top of the order coming up for Milwaukee. And the 3rd time through the batting order as well for the Crew. So Ricky Weeks, Carlos Gomez, and Ryan Braun trying to get something going here against Myers. The Brewers have stranded 5 base runners today. Did score a run in the 3rd inning on a Gomez single. Marco Estrada now loosening in the bullpen. There's a line drive base hit like a bullet back up the middle. And a good start and lead off base runner for the Brew Crew here in the 5th.
Boy, Ricky Weeks back-to-back at-bats with line drives into center field. I'd love to see Ricky to get in one of those hot streaks, get on base. The catalyst of the offense, and check this out, not a bad pitch. It had the plate, but down, and almost got a piece of Brett Myers. Good piece of hitting by Ricky.
Weeks has 2 hits and a walk. He's been on all 3 times at the plate. Gomez drops a bunt down, and it is going to roll foul. It stays on the grass, likely to be a hit for Gomez.
Doesn't even have to be a good bunt for Gomez to beat it out for a base hit. He's that fast. He gets a running start out of that box. His feet are moving even before the ball hits the bat. Boom. Wow.
Back shaver. Sometimes it pays to be out of position coming off the mound, right?
Yeah.
To be off balance.
Yeah, if he was in good fielding position, that sticks him right in the sternum.
Myers has allowed the leadoff base runner to reach base in 4 of the 5 innings today, but only 1 run. And Gomez bunts one foul.
And let's check out today's time of the game winner. It's Dooley's Pub in Eau Claire. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a 2010 Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and our good friends at Miller Lite.
No balls, 2 strikes on Gomez. Ryan Braun would be next. He's had a couple of frustrating at-bats today. He's been barking out loud after both of his outs in this game. Well, Weeks looked like he wanted to run. Had a little spin out at first base, but he just does get back.
Yeah, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Not a very good pitch to run on. I mean, it's a good pitch out count. You don't mind pitching out. Getting the count to 2-2. Got to be careful. Got to get a good jump.
Gomez down on strikes. So Carlos unable to advance Weeks. Ricky's still at first for Ryan Braun. Braun now with 8 home runs on the year. He banged one out of here Tuesday night. Powerball home run number 8. Hit it high off the scoreboard in the first inning of the opening game of this series. Now 32 driven in for Braun. And with 1 swing of the bat, he could put Milwaukee on top.
That first 2 times up, you talked about frustrating couple of at-bats. His first time up just missed a curveball, almost hit it out, and then popped up a fastball that Ryan felt as though he should have hit pretty hard.
Braun had a home run and a bunt single in that game Tuesday night, showcasing the power and the speed. National League's leading vote getter among outfielders at the first release of All-Star voting. There's a breaking ball strike. It's been a good pitch for Myers today.
It looks like he's throwing a slider and a cutter. That was a slider that time, a little bit more downward bite on it than the cutter. Hasn't thrown too many of those big curveballs. Those that 12-6 curveball that he throws.
Braun missed another one. It's been that kind of day for Ryan Braun. He was just off, and that ends up in fair territory. And it's out number 2.
Yep, just a little bit behind the fastball. That was because of the pitch before, the slider. You know, 1 ball, no strike pitch. Myers throws the slider, and because of that, Ryan wasn't sure what he was going to get the next pitch, and because of that, he's behind the fastball.
So here's Fielder now. 2 outs, runner at first. 7 home runs for Fielder. Myers has given up 6 home runs this year. Fielder is 0 for 2. A couple of fly ball outs. Also narrow misses. That's the name of the game for a pitcher. Try to stay off the sweet spot. Myers has done it very well tonight.
Well, his home run totals for Brett Myers, 6 of them, but he's done a nice job keeping the ball in the ballpark. You know, 2 occasions on 2 starts, he's given up 2 home runs. So other than that, he's been pretty good keeping the ball in the ballpark.
Gave up 2 home runs in a game to the Giants and 2 in a game to the Atlanta Braves.
And both on the road.
2 balls, no strikes on Fielder. 3-0. Some rally cheese in the 5th inning. Fielder draws a walk. Well, here's Casey McGee coming up with 2 on.
Yeah, Brett Myers really didn't want any part of Prince Fielder. Started him out with a changeup, and right away, right there, you knew he wasn't going to be too aggressive. Another changeup off the outside corner. And just not willing to give Prince anything to pull and hit out of the ballpark. All off speed pitches, and he might as well just stand up and walk him intentionally when you do that.
Going to take his chances with Casey McGee. These are the spots McGee has been so good. 2 on, 2 out. The tying run now at second. And a breaking ball for a strike. Took a little off that curveball, Myers did. His curveball usually sits in the low 80s. That one at 77.
Yep, slow curve, high fastball. I mean, classic pitching. On the 1-1 count, what did he do last time to Ryan Braun? Do the fastball and Ryan behind it. What's he do here?
McGee batting .409 this year with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Drops another hammer in there. Boy, that is a good looking curveball from Myers. The equalizer. You see McGee off balance out in front.
Now, this is where Casey earns his money, where he's been so good putting the ball in play with men on base. This is where he's so good to right field. Just looking to put the bat on the baseball.
Count evens at 2-2. In this kind of spot this year, Casey McGee with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position at least second or third. McGee has 9 hits. One of the main reasons he sits atop the National League in RBIs. Casey singled off Myers in the 4th. Full count. McGee has worked it back. And now the runners will get a head start. Corey Hart would be next.
Well, the only pitch he's thrown a strike to Casey McGee in this at bat has been the curveball. Let's see if he throws it on 3-2.
He's ready. Here's the 3-2 and the curveball. Bang back up the middle. A base hit. Ricky Weeks around third. He'll score. The game is tied. as Casey McGee delivers again.
Well, he left it up in the strike zone, and once again, you throw your bread and butter on 3-2. Well, he made his intentions known right away. First pitch to Casey, that curveball for a strike. And then he tried to throw the fastball out of the zone, another curveball. Then he had to try and see if he was going to chase out of the strike zone. Finally, on 3-2, he hangs the curveball, and Casey bangs it right back through the middle for RBI number 41 and a tie game.
It's so impressive. His second hit of the game. That is a classic at bat by Casey McGee. All tied at 2. The Astros score twice in the first inning on a 2 RBI single by Jeff Blum. The Brewers got a run in the third. Gomez drove in Escobar, and now McGee has driven in Weeks. And here's Hart with a chance to put him on top. Popped him up. Back is Keppinger in the grass. And the inning is over. 2 more left, but Casey at the bat comes through again. And we're tied at 2. Back in the spotlight again here today. He drives in the tying run, a 2-out, 2-strike RBI single against Brett Myers, and we're all even at 2. Last year at this time, Casey McGee was a relative unknown. Who'd have thought that McGee would do what he is doing now in big league baseball? He's the National League leader in RBIs. Had just 38 at-bats this time last year. 9 homers, 41 runs batted in, and a .313 batting average through April and May of this season. Has been one of the great finds for Doug Melvin. Picked up Casey McGee off the waiver wire. That takes a lot of thought and explaining. But he's having fun. That's the name of the game, right?
Who's he supposed to be?
I'm not sure.
It is a wig, isn't it?
I hope so. Looks like he's in pretty good shape. Maybe he's,
I didn't notice.
It's the new him. Maybe he's been working out. But obviously not pleased with his current hairdo. So Marco Estrada is in the pitch. And Dave Bush will not factor in the decision. And quite a turnaround for Dave Bush, who threw 40 pitches in the first inning. As you see the numbers on Estrada.
Yeah, made his second start as a Brewer on Sunday at Minnesota. Pitched 3 innings, gave up a couple of runs. That's the game where the bullpen came up very big. He's shown a very good changeup in his short time with Milwaukee so far, which makes that fastball much more effective. But you're right. Good job by Dave Bush. Kept the ball in the ballpark through 102 pitches and 5 innings. The only runs he allowed were in the first.
And those were unearned runs against Bush as Estrada walks Corey Sullivan. Now, a reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Brewers. It took Bush 40 pitches to get through the first, 62 to get through innings 2 through 5. So that is classified as a comeback. The Brewers got a run in the third and tied it on McGee's RBI in the fifth. Gomez and McGee with the RBIs here this afternoon. Another leadoff base runner aboard, however. The Brewers have had their leadoff runner aboard in 4 of the first 5 innings against Myers. Twice that runner has scored.
And the Astros 4 of 6.
Bush was able to pitch around those leadoff base runners in innings 2 through 5. Astros have left 6. The Brewers have left 7 on base. Marco Estrada looking for a ground ball here. A bunt at McGee on the run in time. It'll probably go as a sacrifice. It looked like Manzella was trying to bunt for a hit, but he does advance the runner.
Well, it might go down as a sacrifice, but you wonder why you would do that with 8 and 9 coming up, unless the Astros are thinking about a pinch hitter for Myers, but there's no activity in the pen down there for Houston. That was a straight bunt for a base hit, no doubt about that. But he'll probably get credited for a sacrifice.
Now Estrada with a runner at second. Kevin Cash is coming up. Cash singled in the second inning, and then Bush struck him out in the fourth.
Escobar has to be careful, leaking up the middle a little bit too much with that Estrada changeup. That opens up a big hole for right-handed hitters. See him up the middle, shading up the middle, but Estrada with that big changeup, a lot of times right-handers are going to pull that pitch in that hole.
Estrada came to the Brewers from the Washington Nationals. He was taken off their roster in February. The Brewers snatched him up, a waiver claim. Much like what happened to Casey McGee. Entered the season with 15 career major league appearances and 1 start. All for the Nationals. In there for a strike. 2-2 the count on Cash.
There's that changeup. A lot of confidence in it on a 2-1 count. Changeup between 79 and about 81 miles an hour. The fastball at about 92. It's a big difference.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Big lead out at second by Sullivan, and that one just missed. It's one of his better fastballs we've seen, 93 miles an hour. Estrada was a starting pitcher in AAA this year. 7 starts and a 3.15 earned run average. His fastball has a little something to it, especially when you combine it with a changeup. So the 3 pitchers from the minor leagues have come and made a quick impact. With Estrada, John Axford, Zach Braddock. Yeah, he walks him. Tried to sneak a changeup in there. He walks Cash. 2 on now. And the pitcher Myers coming up.
Hey, come out to Miller Park as the Brewers host the New York Mets this weekend. Tickets are going fast, so call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com today.
We got a great matchup tomorrow. Giovanni Gallardo and Johan Santana. A matchup of aces tomorrow. Those two squared off last year in New York in April. Santana won. Myers pops up the bunt, and Fielder and Kataras collide. You know how that one's going to go. Second out of the inning.
Yeah, Prince is never the one that ends up hitting the deck, is he?
Even with all the equipment on, somebody's going down, and it's not Fielder.
Our Home Depot doing more on defense. Yeah, the pop up the easy part of this play. Running into Prince, that's the tough part. Might need some duct tape from Home Depot to stay together after a collision with Prince.
It's tough to tell if that was fair or foul. It was right on the line. All right, so 2 outs. Myers unable to advance the runners. And Estrada trying to get through this inning. It's all fun and games as long as it's an out. That ball falls, however. Not so funny. Little bouncer. Ricky Weeks, you got to hurry. The throw, and it's wide. Another run will score. Kataras has to track it down. Oh, a costly error. And the Astros take the lead.
Now that's what speed will do for you. Michael Bourne running hard down the line. Ricky knows it. And because of that, he's got to be a little bit quicker than he would like, and he ends up throwing it away. And nobody backing up the play because Kataras has to stay put at home plate. Not even close at first base. His throw way off the mark. And by the time George gets it at the backstop, Michael Bourne able to get into second base.
Well, Ricky Weeks commits his 6th error. All 3 of the runs for the Astros unearned here today. Second and third now. And here's Keppinger, one of their hottest hitters.
Right, a good pitch by Estrada. Should have been out of the inning. Well done. And defense really letting the Brewers down here today.
Cash ended up at third base. And Bourne at second. 2-base error by Ricky. Escobar and Weeks with the errors today. Shadows starting to creep out. That pitch starts in the sun, ends up in the shadow.
And not much of a factor yet. It will be once that pitcher starts being covered in the shadows, and then the background's in the bright sunshine. That plays havoc with the eyes. Eyes not sure what to focus in on. Right now, not a big deal.
Well, a key batter here for Estrada. He's got Hunter Pence on deck. Second and third, 2 outs. And the hitter's count to Keppinger. In there for a strike. Little changeup from Estrada. 2 walks and an error. And the Astros are threatening. They have the lead 3-2. Estrada coming off that spot start on Sunday. He's been terrific in his 2 Milwaukee appearances this year. Went 4 innings in his first appearance in Cincinnati, gave up just 1 run. Full count, 2 outs with Pence on deck. And Keppinger pops it up, another changeup. Escobar will make the catch. The inning is over. Estrada strands a pair. An error leads to a run, and the Astros are up 3-2.
It up until the top of the 6th. A 2-base error by Ricky Weeks after a couple of walks. The Astros with a 3-2 lead. All 3 runs by the Astros unearned.
So 2 errors here today. 3-2 Astros lead at the sausage races. A staple here at Miller Park. A little sluggish today in the sausages.
Day game after a night game.
A lot of leaning going on. Slow developing race today.
There'll be some Clemens sausages on my grill tonight.
Maybe that's it.
Big grilling day here in Milwaukee. Beautiful day. Early release from work.
Now Kataris leads it off for Milwaukee. Bottom of the order here. Brett Myers still on the mound and back on the win side of the ledger after the Astros take the lead in the top of this frame. A lazy pop up. Sullivan toward the wall, and he's got it for out number 1. Frustrating day defensively for the Brew Crew. And a couple of costly errors. Pitcher spot is coming up next. So Ken Maka prepared to pinch hit for Estrada. He's got Zach Braddock in the bullpen. Braddock was up earlier. Escobar has had a good day at the plate. He singled and scored a run in the 3rd. That was the first Brewers run. Then he walked in the 4th. was a good at-bat back in the 4th inning. Something you like to see from the young hitter. Fell behind quickly, 2 strikes. Worked the count full, then ultimately walked, and it allowed the Brewers to clear their pitcher. Escobar says he is most comfortable hitting second. That's where he's always hit. Occasionally he's been in the leadoff spot, but he likes the 2-hole best.
Well, for a lot of different reasons, most of which is you get to hit in front of Ryan Braun. You're going to get much better pitches to hitting in front of Ryan than you would hitting in front of the pitcher.
2 quick outs. We check in with Drew Olson.
Well, guys, Joe Englett's going to get this at bat here for Marco Estrada. Craig Counsell had his shin guard and his helmet on, but the Brewers coaching staff told him to take his seat. Ken Maka told us before the game that he thought about giving Counsell a start today just to get him some at-bats, but then he realized with Jody Garrett out, he's a little thin in the pinch hitting department, so they just saved Counsell for the later innings today, and that's why we're seeing Englett today. I guess they're going to hold Counsell in reserve for later.
Counsell when it counts on a pretty thin bench to start with. And Englett's been hobbled by an ankle injury, but he's been very good coming off the bench this year.
Yeah, hitting over 360 as a pinch hitter, 7 for 19. The Brewers in general coming off the bench in the early part of the season, very good. 19 pinch hits already and 8 runs batted in. A marked improvement over last year at this time.
Well, Jody Garrett still on the active roster, but he's basically unavailable with a heel injury. Matter of fact, he's not even wearing his baseball spikes at this point. So not sure what the Brewers are going to do with Garrett. He's in that tweener zone right now. You don't know if you want to put him on the disabled list or if you keep him active with hopes that he's going to feel better. Stepped on the bag the wrong way in Minnesota on Saturday, and he's been out ever since.
That's what happens now. You got Craig Counsell essentially as your last option off the bench. You never want to use your only other catcher, Jonathan LaCroix. A couple of nights ago, Ken Maka used Yovani Gallardo as a pinch hitter.
Here's the 2-2, and Englett rolls one to second. Keppinger will make the play. Inning over. 3 up, 3 down for Myers. We go to the 7th, 3-2 Houston. Toyota, thank you for standing by us. For more information, visit buyatoyota.com. The homestand continues tomorrow. The Mets are here. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a 3-game series with New York. All 3 games on Fox Sports Wisconsin and 3 different airtimes. 6:30 tomorrow for Brewers Live, 5:30 Saturday, and 12:30 Sunday. Hope you'll make plans to be with us. Zach Braddock is on the mound. We take you back to last Sunday, and Braddock was impressive for Milwaukee in his debut.
Yeah, 2 innings of scoreless baseball in really tough situation, a very close ball game. Gave up a base hit, a couple of strikeouts, so very impressive in his major league debut. Coming on here tonight, or today in the 7th inning, hopefully put up a 0. 37 pitches is what he needed to get through 2 innings against the Twins.
The modern day version of the Mad Hungarian. Remember Al Roboski? Braddock has that same kind of look about him before he starts a pitch. We saw a lot of him this spring, and he was impressive. It looked like he was going to make the ball club at one point.
And he was very impressive down in the minor leagues. 28 strikeouts in 16 innings. That's not bad.
Had one bad game in AAA, one bad inning, as it turns out.
That's almost 2 strikeouts an inning.
Broken bat, little flare, and a base hit. And Hunter Pence is on with a single, his 2nd hit of the game. And the Flares have fallen today for the Astros. Hey fans, for just $18 you can see the Brew Crew and the Zoo. Get 1 Terrace Reserve ticket to your choice of select Brewers games and a 2010 adult admission ticket to the Milwaukee County Zoo, plus a free tote bag. To purchase tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com/zoo.
First hit for the Astros since the 3rd inning, a leadoff base hit by Hunter Pence.
Here's Berkman now. Marco Estrada went 1 inning, gave up 1 run. It was unearned on 2 walks, and Estrada is on the hook for the loss. 2 costly errors today, all 3 Houston runs unearned. Berkman pops it up. Kataris will give it a look, and it's just into the front row.
It's basically fastball slider for Zach Braddock. He throws hard. He'll get it up there in the mid-90s. A good biting down and in the right-hander's slider. Did a nice job so far throwing strikes. He only walked 9 batters to go along with those 28 strikeouts down in Nashville.
Braddock pitched 16 innings in AAA and gave up 8 runs, and all 8 of those runs came in 1 outing against Albuquerque. Braddock went unscored upon in his other 10 outings, 15 in the 3rd innings. Outside that 8-run inning against the Albuquerque Isotopes. In hitter-friendly Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Runner takes off, and the pitch is inside. Stolen base for Hunter Pence.
And not much of a move to first base. Hunter Pence took off, and that high leg kick, no chance for Kataris to throw him out. 2nd stolen base for the Astros in this ball game, who really don't run all that much except for Michael Bourne. Nobody really runs a whole lot. Pence will run, and able to steal that one easily, taking away the double play.
Stolen base number 4, the 2nd bag of the game for the Astros. So 2-2 now with a runner at 2nd. And that's inside to Berkman. Wilton Lopez in the bullpen. Myers possibly done here after 6 innings. Berkman pops it up. Ricky Weeks. And he's got it for out number 1.
Good pitch that time by Braddock. He went with a slider on the full count. And shows a lot of moxie out there. He's got a lot of poise for a young kid. On a 3-2 count, Berkman sitting dead red, got the slider and out in front of it. Good pitch.
And here comes Rick Peterson. Peterson is always walking that fine line of allowing a pitcher to get into a rhythm and a routine, or going to the mound for a scouting report, something he spotted. That's always a challenge for a pitching coach. You don't want to break up a guy who's, gets himself in a nice little rhythm, but at the same time, the information is important as well. So as Blum steps up, Braddock goes to work. Blum has not hit all that often as a right-handed batter. Pence takes off. The throw to third is not in time. Pence stays on the bag.
It looked like that foot came up just a little bit, but apparently not. Mike Estabrook with the big safe sign. Boy, a huge lead, a huge jump, and really a good job by George to make it close. Check it up. Does he come up? Right there? No. Well, a good job by Casey to keep the glove on the body. Right there. Does a foot leave the bag? I don't think so. Good call. Look pretty close.
That's a big steal. Now Pence at third base with just one out opens up the sacrifice fly opportunity. Steals second and third. And now the infield is in with Blum at the plate. Blum is just 1 for 9 as a right-handed hitter this year. Very little activity from this side of the plate. And when he's used as a pinch hitter, it is almost always as a left-handed option. Braddock could use a strikeout here. Little jam shot right to Escobar. Second out of the inning. Pence able to get back to the bag. Braddock gets the out without the runner scoring. And now the infield can back up and play at regular depth.
Yeah, good fastball that time by Braddock. Right in on the hands of Blum. Really eating him up inside. Look at that. I mean, you talk about getting one down on the handle. You can't do it much better than that. And an easy out with the infield drawn in. So 1 out away from getting out of this mess.
Todd Coffey in the bullpen. Brad Mills, the Astros manager, is going to call to his bench here. Jason Michaels will come on to hit and likely to stay in the game in left field. Astros lead by a run, 3-2. We are in the 7th inning at Miller Park. And the young Zach Braddock, just his second major league appearance of his career. Boy, that is a big fastball from Braddock. 95 miles an hour on the inside corner.
And he's keeping it down in the strike zone. That's key.
Braddock was scouted and signed by Tony Blengino, who followed Jack Zarincic to the Seattle Mariners. Longtime Brewers front office man in the scouting department. 1-2, a big hack by Michaels on a breaking ball.
And that slider took a little bit off that time. Had Michaels out in front. Let's see if he tries to go up and in with that fastball just like he did to Jeff Blum.
Runner at third, 2 outs. And Braddock zips one by Michaels, 97 miles an hour. And welcome to Milwaukee, Zach Braddock. Plenty of
Ball game where, Jerry, we've seen the relievers now, the young guys come in to help out the veteran starters. Bush struggling through that first inning, but held them in check after.
Well, sure, he had a 40-pitch first inning. It's been something the Brewers starters have. Each game they have that one inning where they throw a lot of pitches. The young kids coming in showing a lot of composure. The one thing I see that they're doing, they're really going and using the things that got them here. Throwing strikes, using their off-speed pitches, it's been really effective.
Now, they're not being intimidated whatsoever. So Brewers trying to get back in this year, bottom of the 7th inning. Jerry and I are getting ready for the show coming up. We'll get inside that Brewer clubhouse, plus our instructional this afternoon, the sacrifice bunt. We've seen that work and not work so good here today. Jerry and Rock will break that down, Brian.
All right, Craig, thanks a lot. We look forward to that as Wilton Lopez takes over on the mound for Houston.
Yeah, 12th appearance for Lopez, a 1-0 record. You see the opponent batting average over 300. Jason Michaels remains in the game in left field.
Lopez will face the top of the order. Brett Myers out after 6 innings. And Ricky Weeks at the plate, presented by Wendy's. 2 hits and a walk. He scored a run. He scored the tying run in the 5th. Astros would take the lead in the 6th inning. Just a few other games underway in the National League today. The Dodgers and the Cubs are scoreless in the 5th. Ted Lilly's on the mound for Chicago today against John Eli. That game at Wrigley Field. Colorado scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 1st against Arizona. Tulowitzki with his 6th home run. So they're off and running in Colorado as well. Giants and the Nationals have a day game today. Everything else is later tonight in the National League. Two balls, 2 strikes on Weeks. And that one is on the outside corner. Ricky is rung up.
Yeah, right at the bottom of the strike zone. A couple of pitches in that at bat. Called strikes by Jerry Lane. And Lane, home plate umpire, saying that caught the bottom of the knees. Looked like it was a bit low, but Foxtrack had it as a strike. Looks low from there. See the way Cash pulls that pitch up.
A little framing of the pitch. Carlos Gomez now. Gomez drove in a run with a single in the 3rd inning. Played in the first Brewers run. Fulchino is the right-hander. And Burdack on the far side, the lefty. Got Braun up next. Fielder to follow. Bottom of the 7th in a 3-2 Houston lead. And a strike called right at the bottom of the zone. Well, Lopez has a good arm.
He's got good sinking action on that fastball, and he gets it up there about 92, 93 miles an hour. They say he's got a great changeup. His changeup is a very good pitch for him, and he throws a slider. But that sinker is his bread and butter.
2-2 to Gomez. And he pops him up. The shortstop Manzella makes the catch in fair territory. 2 outs. Hey, we want to send out birthday wishes to Ruth Kester. She's 100 years of age today. She lives in Oconomowoc. From Ron Swig, who sends the birthday wishes. 100 years old. Happy birthday, Ruth. Born in 1910 on this day. And a big Brewers fan.
That's awesome, huh? We could all be so lucky.
All the more reason to pick up a win for Ruth here today. Braun batting for the 4th time. He's 0 for 3. Been a frustrating day at the plate for Ryan Braun. 3 pop-ups. Boy, he is carving the corner, Wilton Lopez. 0-2 the count.
Well, that low strike is all of a sudden being called on a consistent basis by Jerry Lane.
Going back out there. Somehow Braun stays alive. There's the crew chief.
And protecting the play to pitch off the outside corner, just getting a piece. Waiting for the next. Waiting for the mistake.
Can't imagine that Lopez would challenge Braun inside at this point. The 0-2 way outside. 1-2 the count. Lopez with 2 quick outs here in the 7th. In relief of Brett Myers, who goes 6 innings and 2 earned runs. And Braun is down on strikes. Inning is over. A couple of strikeouts for Wilton Lopez. To the 8th we go. The Brewers and the Astros hooked up in a tight one this afternoon. The Astros lead it by a run.
Baseball. First pitch, 68 degrees with lots of sunshine. Our coverage starts at 6:30.
All right, Mark, thanks a lot. Looking forward to another great day of weather tomorrow. The Mets will be in town for Game 1 of the series. As we head to the 8th, let's take you back to the Ryan Braun at bat.
Well, Lopez just stayed hard on Ryan Braun, right on the outside corner. Then this is the big pitch right there, right at the bottom of the strike zone. Ryan stays alive, getting a piece of it. Lopez wastes one and then carves the outside corner and throws it right by Brawny. A good pitch down and away. Guy's got good stuff.
Boy, does he ever.
He got a fastball up to 94 in that at bat to Braun. And it looked good.
It's our first look at Wilton Lopez. Good crowd today, 34,355. 3-2 Astros. The Brewers are going to need some late magic here today. Coffey's out there to try to keep Houston at 3.
It's really been one bad outing for Todd Coffey. That came against his old ball club at Cincinnati on the last road trip. Other than that, he's been very good.
Speaking of power sinkers, Coffey with similar stuff to what we saw with Lopez. He's actually with a few more miles an hour on his fastball. He's at the bottom of the order. Tommy Manzella, the shortstop, leads off. Ken Maka saying before the ballgame today he would not rule out using Trevor Hoffman as the closer if the situation presented itself. Still a closer by committee for the Brewer skipper at this point. He'd like to see his club take the lead and have that choice to make. As Manzella rolls out, one gone for Coffey in the 8th. Rock, our text question today brought to you by Ho Chunk Gaming. Tyler in Superior wants to know what factors come into play when selecting the batting order.
Well, certain types of hitters are going to be in certain spots in the batting order. Your on base percentage guys and your speed guys are going to be, 1 and 2 in the order. Ordinarily, guys that make pretty good contact. Run producers, 3 through 6, and then your defensive specialists, if you will. Middle infielders, catchers perhaps, 7 and 8 in the batting order, and the pitcher's always 9th.
Well, you heard Drew Olson report earlier that Ken Maka was torn today. He wanted to get Craig Counsell a start to get him some at-bats, but with the short bench, some injuries with players who aren't on the disabled list, he needed Counsell in that spot in case you come up in a big spot with a pitcher coming up and you need a big pinch hit at bat from someone. So Counsell, because he's so good off the bench, was unable to get into the starting lineup today.
What makes him good is what puts him on the bench.
Which is just fine by Counsell. Look out, Rock. You're supposed to catch that.
I'm not catching that.
It landed right there.
I've caught many of those in my day, but not barehanded.
It landed right here.
Did it land right there? Fans want me to catch it.
Fans are all over you. Look at him. He's all the way over by me. Very disappointing.
You know what?
Very disappointing.
You get a lot smarter in your old age.
I'm shocked.
You think these hands are going to catch that
That's
thing?
a big league catcher right
Did
here.
you hear that thing fizzing as it came in?
Fizzing. You didn't have to hit it, just catch it. Actually made a dent in our brand new wall. There's a line shot right off Coffey. Trying to recover the throw to first in time. Boy, that got Coffey flush.
Well, you hope he's going to be all right. See, that's why I didn't try and catch that. See what happened to him? You think I'm stupid? That line drive bullet, and Todd Coffey able to go get it and get the out.
Yeah, it looks like it got him on the wrist.
You get to a certain point in life, partner, where that macho thing, you lose it after a while, and it's self-preservation. And Todd Coffey, not in very good position to field. He throws very hard. He falls off toward first base. Got a piece of him, but is able to get the out.
We'll see if Coffey's going to be able to continue here. A couple of pitches to try to earn his way back in this game. That was a close call for Coffey. It hit him close to an area where there's not much protection, not much meat around that spot. You think of a hitter getting hit on the wrist, causing trouble. Coffey's going to be all right. He'll stay.
You see that dent behind me?
Yeah, there's a bit of a dent.
That could have been me. Right here.
It's actually pretty cool. The
big dent, big hole in the wall.
Some laces up there.
See how quickly I was able to scoot out of the way of that?
No,
that landed right in my lap. It would have hit me.
You seem very defensive about it. I got to be honest.
I was. Not very. Completely.
Just plowed me over here. Oswaldo Navarro. Pinch hitting for Houston.
Of all my years working in this ballpark, that's the first time that's happened. I don't remember a baseball coming in here, Mike.
Well, you calmly watched it up here. Then at the last moment, a little bit of panic set in. And you I was scooted this way.
I was cool as a cucumber. I knew exactly what my plan was.
Corey Hart makes a catch. 3 up, 3 down. Our analyst loses some cool points, but Coffey's out of the inning. By a run. It started on a 2 RBI single by Jeff Blum, a little flare that fell in the first inning. Gomez put the Brewers on the board, an RBI in the third, a single, and then Casey McGee, a 2-out, 2-strike RBI single in the fifth. That tied it briefly. A costly error by Ricky Weeks led to the Astros' third run, and that's the run that has them on top. Our Toyota game summary. To the bottom of the 8th we go. The Brewers running out of outs. New pitcher for Houston, Jeff Fulcino, is on for the 8th. And here is Prince Fielder. Check that. Brandon Lyon is in the pitch. Saw Fulcino in the opener. Lyon is the setup man for Matt Lindstrom.
Yeah, finished last night's ball game, pitched a scoreless 9th inning. The sinker ball specialist, Brandon Lyon.
Fielder can tie it with one swing of the bat. In the air to right. That one is hooking foul. And a ball and 2 strikes on Prince. Prince just hasn't unlocked on that just real hot streak through a week. We saw a number of those hot streaks last year where you could hardly get him out.
Every time he gets a good pitch to hit, you know, he's going to be able to center on it. You're right. He hasn't really gotten into one of those stretches where he's been able to carry the ball club. We've seen that just about every year. It will come. He's getting close. Every time you talk to Dale Swaim and Ken Maka, Prince Fielder is that close. It hasn't gotten there yet.
Here's the 1-2 from Lyon. Fielder chased one out of the strike zone. Very unusual to see that. And Fielder is gone. Out number 1 here in the 8th.
You know, this one literally head high. And Prince going after it, comes up empty.
Here's Casey McGee now. Astros have a ton of velocity in their bullpen, and their hardest thrower is Matt Lindstrom, their closer. It looked like Brandon Lyon was going to be set up to be a big-time closer. He saved 26 games for Arizona in 08. Then he was sent to Detroit. And things did not work out well for him in Detroit last year. McGee in the air to right center. Hunter Pence will run it down. Out number 2. So Lyon gets through Fielder and McGee. And now it's Corey Hart.
Yeah, Casey giving it a ride to the opposite field. He does that very well. He's got a number of his home runs to right center and the right field, and just not able to get enough of it to tie it up.
Lyon signed with the Tigers a season ago. Chose to come back to the National League this season. Last year in Detroit, Lyon had a 2.86 ERA. So not a bad year when it was all said and done, but never emerged as the Tigers closer. As Hart bangs one into center field, a base hit. So there's a base runner you need. The Brewers have the tying run on, and a base stealer in Corey Hart.
And this would be an ideal to try and steal a base, but in the scoring position for George Guitars. Fastball not away from Corey, able to reach out with those long arms and get enough of it to dump it into center field.
Guitars has a little pop at his bat. 3 home runs this year in 55 at-bats.
Yeah, Brendan Lyon back in 08 had 26 saves for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And it looked like, as you mentioned, he was well on his way to being a top-notch closer. Only 3 last year.
Mostly in a setup role for the Tigers. Little broken bat and a flare that will be run down by Manzella. So the Astros bullpen has been good tonight. 2 scoreless innings out of their pen. Brewers are headed to their pen. Afternoon for baseball. Not a cloud in the sky. Unfortunately, the Brewers are down a run to Houston. And defensive breakdowns for Milwaukee today. 2 errors that have led to all 3 runs. Carlos Villanueva will take over for the 9th. He'll have the top of the order to deal with. If you're looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, the Brewers will have Escobar, then the pitcher spot. Probably see Counsell. And then back to the top of the order in Ricky Weeks.
Matt Carlos has been very good in his first 22 appearances so far this year. 292 earned run average, but an opponent batting average is only 204. Been very good. He's had good command of his off-speed stuff.
Michael Bourne is 0 for 3 with a walk. He has a stolen base as well. The error in the 6th inning that led to the run, the ball off the bat, was from Michael Bourne. And it was his speed that created a little urgency for Ricky Weeks. He threw it away. And the go-ahead run scored in that 6th inning. And that score has held up since. 3-2 Houston.
Yeah, go-ahead run without a base hit. 2 walks and an error. Those are the runs that hurt you. And you battle back to tie it up, and then you give away the lead.
Villanueva strikes him out. So Carlos comes on, strikes out his first batter. 1 gone here in the 9th.
Now the changeup, the slider have been very good to lefties. And there's that changeup down in the dirt getting Bourne.
Jeff Keppinger now with 1 away. Ken Maka asking his bullpen to give him 4 innings as the hard-throwing Matt Lindstrom prepares for a save situation in the 9th. Want to see a guy light up the radar gun? You'll see it in the bottom of this inning. Dave Bush started, went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs, both unearned. After a 40-pitch first inning, he settled down and pitched well, although he should have been out of that first inning a lot sooner. Marco Estrada gave up an unearned run as well. He's on the hook for the loss. And then Braddock worked a scoreless 7th. Todd Coffey a scoreless 8th, and now it's Villanueva. Rubber game of the series. Brewers won 6-1 on Tuesday night. The Astros shut out the Crew last night behind Roy Oswalt. Houston is headed to Cincinnati after this game. A 3-game series with the Reds, while the Brewers will welcome in the Mets. All of a sudden, the Mets are one of the hottest teams in the league.
4 straight for the Mets.
Every team in the National League East is above 500. It's turning out to be a competitive race. The Phillies are the division leaders. Just 2.5 games, and only 3 games separates the first place team and the last place team.
The Phillies having a tough time scoring runs lately. What's up with the Phillies?
Phillies were shut out on Sunday. Daisuke Matsuzaka threw a near no-hitter against the Phillies last Saturday. And then they were shut out against the Mets Monday. The high-powered offense of the Phillies struggling. There's a line drive, base hit. Keppinger with his 2nd hit. He's 2 for 5. And a base runner for Houston.
That makes pretty good contact, Jeff Keppinger. I mean, a very good high ball hitter. Check out this fastball. Middle in, up in the strike zone. He's able to get the barrel of the bat on it and line it into left field.
Hunter Pence will bat. And barring a double play, Villanueva will have to deal with Lance Berkman. 3-2 Houston. Got to hold them right where they are. It's going to be a late night arrival for the Mets tonight. They have a night game at home against the Phillies. Cole Hamels and Mike Pelfrey match up tonight. Gallardo and Santana tomorrow.
That'll be a good one. You don't figure many runs in that game tomorrow, but you never know.
I wonder if the Mets sent Santana ahead of the team. Some teams do, some don't.
Maybe sitting in the stands today, maybe scouting,
having a dog. Have to check the disguises in the crowd. There's a base hit. Back-to-back singles for the Astros. 2 men aboard with Lance Berkman coming up. Hunter Pence has a 3-hit game.
Yeah, waited back on the off-speed pitch. Another pitch up in the zone, and Hunter Pence able to line it in the left. Another good high ball hitter. Looked like a slider that stayed up. Pence able to hit it hard in the left field. After the strikeout, back-to-back singles. Cannot give up any more.
So here's Berkman. Hitless today, 0 for 3 with a walk. Started him with a changeup. Villanueva could use a double play to get him out of the inning.
Yeah, which means he's got to get that off-speed pitch down in the zone. He's been leaving a couple of them up. Last 2 hitters.
Quickly 0-2. Alcides Escobar will lead off the bottom of the 9th. Then most likely Counsell pinch hitting. And then Ricky Weeks. If anybody gets on, you'd see Gomez. 2 batters reach. Ryan Braun would hit. The Brewers have not won a series since the first week of May when they swept the Arizona Diamondbacks. Oh, 2 to Berkman. 1 away. 2 Astros aboard. Well, it seems like Berkman has been in an 0-2 count every at-bat.
But it ends up being a 3-2 pitch. That ends up either getting a base hit or an out.
He's seen a lot of pitches. He was down 0-2 in the 5th inning against Bush, and he ended up with a walk. Otherwise, 0 for 3. And a little half swing. He goes through it. Kataris, a nice job behind the plate. A strikeout for Villanueva. 2nd out in the inning.
Yeah, both strikeouts in the inning coming on the changeup. And both of them down in the dirt. You got Michael Bourne on the changeup just in the same spot. Berkman not able to hold up.
So 2 gone. And here's Blum. 2 big runners out there for Houston. Villanueva trying to strand him and get out of this inning. Houston's closer, Matt Lindstrom, has only given up 3 earned runs all season, and 2 of them came in his second appearance of the year. And he is a perfect 10 for 10 in save opportunities.
Yeah, so he's due. He's due to give it up. Nobody can be that good all year. And look at runners in scoring position today. Houston Astros have had men on base every inning except the 4th and the 8th.
There's Lindstrom. Ball and a strike on Blum. It's Keppinger at second with Pence at first. And a fastball missed. 2-1. Blum drove in 2 runs with a flare in the first inning. Dumped one into shallow left. First 2 runs of the game. And he pulls that one. That is a foul ball. Just missed the bag at first.
Well, I didn't miss the corner of that bag by a whole lot. Jeff Blum thought it was a fair ball, but Mike Winters right on the line saw it clearly and had it foul. A little bit out in front of an off-speed pitch, and the second bounce just kicks foul. Not by much. That would have cleared the bases.
That's the thing about Blum, why he's such a tough hitter and a good pinch hitter. He'll battle you at the plate. 2-2. Villanueva with 2 on behind him. 2 outs in the inning. And down he goes. Villanueva strikes out Blum. So the Astros strand a pair. 3-2 Houston. Last call for Milwaukee. Will we have some theatrics here today? On with 1 out. He strikes out Bourne to start the inning, and then after 2 singles, he punches out Berkman and then gets Jeff Blum to strand the runners. Strikes out the side on Jimmy John's delivery of the game.
It's all about location. Off-speed pitches up in the strike zone from Villanueva, end up base hits. Down in the strike zone, he got 3 strikeouts.
So here is Matt Lindstrom now, 10 for 10 in save opportunities. He actually has a consecutive save streak going back to last year. He's converted 22 consecutive saves going back to April of 2009.
It's basically fastball slider for Matt Lindstrom. You know, he has hit triple digits in the past. Not to say that he's doing that right now, but a hard thrower, but really doesn't have the big strikeout totals to show for it.
Giving up a lot of hits as well, as he delivers one at 95. Escobar leads off, then Council, and then Weeks.
Only 15 strikeouts in just a little over 19 innings of work. That's not that big a strikeout number.
Escobar with a base hit. The tying run is aboard, and the speedy Escobar.
Well, he got the fastball down at 94 miles an hour, so not anywhere near triple digits, and Escobar able to get the big part of the bat on it, and a good start for the ninth for Milwaukee.
Well, we'll see if Escobar is on the run here. Lindstrom does not hold runners all that well.
Now you got to wonder if Ken Maka is going to have the bunt on.
Greg Council at the plate, pinch hitting. And Council squares. He drops the bunt down in front of the plate. The only play is first. Sacrifice bunt for Council. The tying run at second base with the top of the order coming up.
Yeah, Craig Council is a pro's pro. He just gets the job done no matter what it is. Able to dead net baseball right in front of home plate to get that tying run into second base for the top of the order. Well done by Council. You can see the way he kept the barrel of the bat above the handle. No way you can pop up a bunt when you do that. Good job. Not an easy guy to bunt on, as hard as he throws with that sink.
Here's Ricky Weeks. A base hit ties it. The best arm in the Astros outfield is in right with Hunter Pence. And a snapping slider from Lindstrom misses. Carlos Gomez will be next. And then if anybody gets on, Ryan Braun would bat. A home run wins it for Milwaukee.
.95 with movement on it. That ball just dropped off the table. It's very rare do you see the combination of that kind of movement and velocity. When he starts that ball down around the knees, you got to let it go. But you don't have a whole lot of time to decide.
Lindstrom shared the closing duties in Florida last year with Leo Nunez. And his first real shot to be an everyday closer in the big leagues with Houston. His best fastball missed inside. 2 balls, 1 strike on Weeks. Escobar has great speed at second base. Two and two. Weeks has 2 hits and a walk today. Ricky could handle the fastball. His nemesis pitch, like a lot of right-handed batters, is the slider. Two balls, 2 strikes on Weeks. And he throws it away, and Weeks will watch Escobar go to third base with just 1 out. So the tying run now 90 feet away as Lindstrom uncorks a wild pitch.
Yeah, overthrowing quite a bit that time, not even close. Kevin Cass got a glove on it, but now the at-bat changes for Ricky Weeks. Thought he had in the glove, but boy, he just throws too hard. In the glove, out of the glove, and now Escobar at third base.
And that forces the infield in. That's the 3rd wild pitch of the year for Lindstrom. Escobar will be on his toes for another one. Now Weeks just trying to get one in the air to the outfield at least. Inside, he walked him. The potential winning run is aboard.
Now Lindstrom started out Ricky with a slider just off the outside corner. Now, the fastball had such good sink on it, you have to make him start it up in the strike zone. Fastball misses on the inside corner at 96 miles an hour. Ricky gets the count to 2-2, and then Lindstrom overthrows the fastball. Escobar to third base, and then missed with the fastball in. A good at bat by Ricky Weeks.
Well, Lindstrom has given up as many hits as innings pitched this year, but only one home run. Carlos Gomez will bat. 1 out in the inning. Great speed on the bags. Escobar is at third. Ricky Weeks at first. The Brewers are as fast as they can be on the bases right now.
Well, with Gomez's speed at home plate, the Astros aren't even thinking about a double play. They're going to choke that runoff at home plate. So I guess if you're the runner at third, ordinarily it's a foregone conclusion that you take off on a ground ball, but maybe not here because the Astros aren't trying to turn two.
Ball and a strike on Gomez. And that possibility of a wild pitch with the hard-throwing Lindstrom always exists.
Either way, he tries to bury that sinker down in the strike zone or that slider that could end up down and away and in the dirt as well.
Lindstrom with 22 consecutive saves, the longest active streak in the majors, going back to last season. Almost threw one to the screen that time. 2 balls and a strike on Gomez. Lindstrom's given up just 1 home run. It was Shane Victorino of the Phillies early in the season, way back on April 10th.
Well, you figure Gomez is going to get a good pitch to hit right here with Ryan Braun on deck and a 2-1 count.
Hitters count for Gomez. Tying run at third, winning run at first. And Lindstrom wants to keep Weeks close. Two balls and a strike. And that's a bouncer. That's a foul ball. Escobar scores. Weeks into third. Wow. We are tied at 3.
Well, he did get the fastball. It was a 2-1 fastball. It was right down the middle of the plate and pulled it down the line. Well, Gomez able to work the count to his favor. He got a 2-1 count, and with Ryan Braun on deck, he knew that Lindstrom was going to throw a fastball. He got it down, he got it middle in, and able to turn on it out of the reach of Blum. And now the winning run at third base, and Ryan Braun at the plate.
Gomez drives in a big run. He ties it up, all even at 3. And here is Braun with 1 out. And a chance to make it a game ender here in Milwaukee. They'll ask if he went, and he goes. We take you back to September of 2009. Ryan Braun's last walk-off. It was a home run against the Phillies.
Now this time the Astros are playing back for the double play. They feel as though they have a better chance of turning 2 with Ryan at the plate than they did with Carlos Gomez.
No balls and a strike on Braun. And Ryan cuts right through it. Slider from Lindstrom.
Yeah, a couple of pitches out of the strike zone, not even close. And Ryan going after him.
All tied at 3 with 1 away. Braun trying to send him home happy. Gomez with a big hit to tie it. The 0-2, and Braun swings and misses. Down he goes on strikes. 2 outs in the inning for Lindstrom.
Every pitch out of the strike zone, and Ryan Braun swings right through him. A slider off the outside corner, tried to check his swing. Slider down, then another slider down, and instead of 3-0, Ryan Braun an out.
So here's Fielder now. Winning run at third base with 2 gone. And Prince lays off a high fastball. Well, if we go to extra innings, John Axford will have the 10th. But Fielder trying to end it right here and now. Prince has 6 game winners in his career. The last time it was done against the Giants last September. Fielder has had a knack in moments like this. That was the home run, the infamous home run. Remember the exploding bomb at home plate that had everybody's ire in the big leagues. Fielder's last walk-off hit. A base hit will do here. And Fielder hits one in the air. It is deep to right. Back is Prince at the wall, and he's got it. Fielder thought he'd launched one out of here. Just in front of the wall. And we are headed to extra innings. Carlos Gomez with a big hit to tie it. Fielder missed. Extra innings are presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky all season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. Fielder narrowly missing one in the deep right center field. The way he held the bat, he gave you the indication that he hit one out, and it had that flight to it as well. But with the breeze blowing, point of contact for Fielder looks pretty good. Slightly off the end, and it ends up as an out. The consecutive save streak has ended for Matt Lindstrom, however. Stops at 22, and a blown save today gives the Brewers a chance. They score a run in the 9th inning on a Gomez RBI single. Now it's John Axford, and Michaels swings at the first pitch. 1 pitch, 1 out for John Axford here in the 10th. Well, a good rally for the Crew in the 9th, as Axford appears in his 6th game.
Yeah, shown a lot of poise in that save that he was able to pick up against the Twins. on Sunday afternoon. I mean, showed a good fastball. The slider was very good in his 6th appearance.
Here's Manzella now. Well, runner at third and Braun and Fielder coming up. You're feeling pretty good about your chances.
Yeah.
A key strikeout against Braun to get the second out with Weeks at third base in that 9th inning.
And Prince looked as though he thought he centered on one. You know, the big fella doesn't have to hit him perfect to hit him out of the ballpark, but just didn't get the carry.
Axford, a hard thrower. He was not in the closer's role in AAA. They had him in a setup role for Chris Smith. But he has kind of emerged as the frontline candidate for the closer's role. Now, Ken Maka did say before the game that he's close to giving Trevor Hoffman back his closer's job, as Trevor has worked 2 scoreless innings now since coming back from the repair shop, as Ken Maka calls it.
Had a little work done.
Oh, Axford strikes out Manzella. That was a beauty.
Yeah, the big velocity, and then you follow it up with a slider. And John Axford has done nothing to put anybody else in that closer's role right now. That was a nice slider. A late breaker, able to catch the inside corner.
2 quick outs. And here is Kevin Cash. Boy, just nasty stuff.
88-mile-an-hour slider to go along with about a mid to upper 90s fastball. And he's been able to throw strikes. That's the key to his success, as to all pitchers. But a guy that throws as hard as Axford, he's still able to throw it over the plate.
Well, you have seen the future in this game here today for the Brewers. The hard-throwing Zach Braddock. And here in this inning, John Axford with that sweet mustache. The tooth scraper. And down goes Cash. 3 straight pitches. 97 miles an hour for Axford. To the bottom of the 10th we go. Who plays hero today? Casey McGee will lead off in a tie ball game. Axford impressive in the 10th. All tied at 3 as we head to the bottom of the 10th inning. And Matt Lindstrom is still out there in front of a crowd of nearly 35,000 here at Miller Park. So Lindstrom rocked for the 2nd time. Will try to give Brad Mills 2 innings.
Well, he's done it before. He did it earlier in the season against the San Diego Padres. Don't usually have your closer in for 2 innings in a ball game, but that's how bad Brad Mills wants this one here today.
Casey McGee leads off. 3-3 game. Gomez ties it with a single that scored Escobar. And the first blown save of the year for Matt Lindstrom.
I told you he was due. Nobody's perfect.
Game's not that easy, right?
No, it's not.
Got to go back to April of 09 to find Lindstrom's last blown save. 1 ball, 1 strike to McGee. And a big hack. 1-2. Game-ending home runs. How about Casey McGee on April 11th? That was against the St. Louis Cardinals. His first career walk-off home run, Casey McGee. McGee with 2 hits tonight and an RBI. Drove in his 41st run, which leads the National League. That came in the 5th, and that tied it. And that one's into right. That's a base hit. Casey McGee with a single, and a good start for the Crew in this 10th inning.
Now John Axford outstanding in his effort in the top of the 10th. A 9-pitch inning. He threw 8 strikes, only 1 out of the strike zone. Was able to command both the fastball and the slider. Outstanding work by John Axford once again.
Struck out Manzella and Cash to end the inning. A base runner for Ken Maka here in the 10th. Here's Corey Hart. Hits against Lindstrom already for the Crew. He's given up 3 hits and a walk. Houston's bullpen is quiet. Meanwhile, Jeff Suppan starts to throw for Milwaukee.
Be interesting to see what's going to happen if the Brewers batting order gets down to John Axford's spot. Who do you use? You've got Jonathan LaCroix on the bench and Jody Garrett, who's probably not available.
And Corey Hart batting out of the 6th spot in the order. So still 4 spots away from that pitcher's spot coming up. Hart not bunting, and he hits one high in the air to right. Playable for Pence. So the bunt taken off, and Hart flies out. McGee's still at first base.
Ken Maka figuring the way Corey's been swinging the bat lately, he's been able to get some pretty good swings and fastballs. Take the bunt off in hopes that Lindstrom thinks he's going to bunt and knock one in the gap somewhere, but got under it.
1 gone. Here's Kataris. Lindstrom has topped out at 96 here today. .30-year-old Astros closer. And a sharp slider that missed. 1 ball, 1 strike on Kataris. The Brewers trying to win one here in the 10th. The winning run at first base in McGee. And Kataris pops it foul.
It's going to be tough for Casey McGee to be able to score on a gapper. Hunter Pence is very deep out and right. Michael Bourne actually shaded around toward left center just a little bit, so there's a lot of room out in that right center field gap. In ordinary circumstances, with a leadoff single by Case, you might have saw a pinch runner. We're a little short-handed.
1-2 the count on the Brewer catcher. 2-2. Well, if you're Kotaras, if he throws you a breaking ball to strike you out, you tip your hat. He's been unable to command the slider. Two balls, two strikes. McGee a short lead at first. And that one is just a little bit low. 3-2 the count.
Yeah, might not be a bad idea to send Casey here. Kotaras, not a bad contact type hitter. Puts the ball in play. You got to figure he's going to be getting a fastball in this situation. You give Casey a head start in the event of a gapper.
Now McGee takes off, then stops. Kotaras takes ball 4. How about that at bat?
Yeah.
George Kotaras walks. And the potential winning run into scoring position now.
Yeah, George Kotaras has a very good eye at the plate. I mean, he very rarely swings or pitches out of the strike zone. He's been able to draw some walks. Well, and here we go with the situation we were talking about with the pitcher on deck. And look who walks out there.
Yep, if Escobar should reach and this game doesn't end, or an out, Randy Wolf will hit.
My goodness.
Escobar could end it right here. A hit and a walk in this inning against Lindstrom. Escobar has 2 hits, including the leadoff single in the 9th inning against Lindstrom. And he scored the tying run on Gomez's single. Two balls, no strikes.
It just doesn't seem to have the same zip on his fastball, not the same break on the slider. Second inning for the closer. I mean, pretty much unfamiliar territory. He has done it once this year, but that's not a lot. Laboring to throw strikes.
Well, Lucroy has surfaced back in the dugout. As Escobar sends one to left, that is going to fall for a base hit. McGee had to freeze, not sure if it was going to be caught or not. The bases are loaded. Again, the winning run at third base for Milwaukee with just 1 out.
Well, I tell you, now you have a pitcher coming up to win the ball game for you. Well, what do you do here if you're Ken Maka? You'd love to be able to trot out one of your bench players, but you've got one of your starting pitchers that you're counting on to win the ball game for you. Another slider by Lindstrom. He's not willing to throw that fastball. McGee had to freeze just a little bit. They were playing shallow with Escobar up, and McGee just able to get to third base. Now keep in mind a couple of things here. Randy Wolf has struggled to drop down bunts this year. He's been swinging the bat extremely well. Has had a tough time with his sacrifice bunts. If anybody at all is thinking about a squeeze here.
And the fact that there is a force play at the plate could change things.
Makes it even more difficult.
The big question for Ken Maka here is why not Jonathan Lucroy in this situation?
Take the opportunity. You try and win the ball game. You know, in this inning, and if he's able to make contact and drive in the run, you don't have to worry about any more extra players. Good question. I think that's going to be one of the first questions that Ken Maka is going to have to answer.
So Maka rolls out a pitcher with the bases loaded. Randy Wolf can make him look like a genius here.
It's asking a lot of a pitcher to come up in this situation.
Wolf with 8 hits this year. And a pretty good cut on a Lindstrom fastball. It's 0-1. All of the outfielders very shallow for Houston. If it goes to the 11th, Suppan will pitch. Randy Wolf pinch hitting for Axford. Astros will try to turn a double play up the middle. And it's 0-2. McGee, Kataris, and Escobar on the bags. The only run that matters is that man, Casey McGee. Got to be heads up for a wild pitch as well. 0-2 to Wolf. And he strikes out. And Lindstrom picks up his second out. That is a tough spot for Randy Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, I hope you don't expect a base hit. There was a slider that stayed up in the strike zone. Wolf a strikeout victim on 3 pitches. And you just got to wonder how long the Brewers are going to be able to get by with the bench the way it is right now. And you just can't continue to send up pitchers to try and help you win ball games.
So with Lucroy still on the bench, Ricky Weeks will bat with 2 away. A base hit will win it. A wild pitch could win it as well.
Well, the Brewers back-to-back innings where they've had the winning run at third base with 1 out, not able to score them both times. 3 pitch strikeouts.
Two outs. Here's Weeks. McGee at third, a below average runner. So you got to be sure if one skips away from the catcher. Just missed.
A walk would work. He's already walked 2 since he's been out there.
A lot of pitches for Lindstrom. 40 pitches. Second time this year he's tried to go 2 innings. The 1-0 to Ricky. Fouls it away. 1 ball, 1 strike. The most pitches that Lindstrom has thrown all season. In his 2-inning performance against San Diego back on May 9th, it only took him 22 pitches to get through 2 innings. So he is in uncharted territory here. 3-3 game of the 10th. Bases loaded, the 1-1. 2 balls and a strike.
And the slider's starting to stay up in the strike zone, whether it's by design or not, because there's a man at third base. Not sure, but doesn't have that bite that it had in the first inning of work. Maybe tiring a bit. It's got to be.
Here's a 2-1, and Weeks sends 1 foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Another fastball by Lindstrom. Well, and this is the big gamble for a pitcher. If you're Lindstrom, do you go with a slider? Good chance at a strikeout, or at least an attempt, but also that opportunity of a wild pitch.
He hasn't been able to get one down and away this whole inning. Everything's been up and hanging with respect to the slider.
Ricky has not been able to square up on his fastball. Here's the 2-2, and Weeks lays off. Good block by Cash. Full count. It all comes down to this pitch here. Nowhere to put him. Bases loaded. And Ricky lays off. It's a base bases loaded walk, and the Brewers win it. Lindstrom walks Ricky Weeks. And a comeback win for Milwaukee. It wasn't the most dramatic, but it's deserving of a little mash at first base. How about that? Ricky Weeks picks up the RBI the easy way. A game winner, 4-3. Milwaukee wins it, and they win the series from the Astros, the first series victory since early this month. Ricky Weeks, our Menards player of the game. He had 2 hits and 2 walks. John Axford, the winner, Matt Lindstrom, blows his first save and suffers his first loss.